Hey, everybody, and welcome to the Volume 8 Directors and Writers Commentary. This is how I'm going to talk the entire time. My name is Carrie Shawcross. I'm the showrunner.
Kelly Chris Walken.
And one of the episode directors and writers. I'm joined on this episode with Kiersey, who's one of the writers and was the writer for this episode, except for the 2 pages that I wrote, but did basically everything else. So yay.
No, it was really perfect. I'm glad I got to write the opening episode for this season. There was a big balancing act with Salem rolling up right at the end of last season. So
yeah, I feel like this episode needed to do a lot, I feel like I'm gonna give everybody credit but myself, but like you and the rest of the team, like I feel like everybody did a really good job of making it interesting. Still, it's always hard when we know we have something that's a little on the setup side, but it also like had so much new information and like reunions and that kind of stuff that I feel like it really helped it stand out. It was fun to work on. Well, I mean, I only remembered this when I was trying to think of like what we were going to talk about before this. Do you remember why I wrote so little of this episode in the end?
You were supposed to write this whole episode, but you were like super busy with something else.
Well,
I stepped up to the pitch and I was like, I can do it.
Yeah, no. 100. I mean, I would say 100% that, and also unless I'm misremembering, the more of the Cinder stuff was going to be in this episode, wasn't it?
Oh.
Yeah, like the chapter 6.
Yeah.
We originally talked about starting off the season with some of that, but we just realized that we couldn't do that justice and get kind of the season going either. So instead we kind of opted to do like the short tease, but we figured that out after I had already done a draft of that. So then it was, okay, cool. Well, this will come in handy later, but what are we gonna do about chapter 1 now? And that was when you're like, hey, I can help. Let's do this. And then like you jumped in and like did all of the other good stuff, So it's like,
yeah, we had so much to pick up from last season, and then we also really wanted to set the right tone for the coming season, like signal what it was going to be about. Having that tiny little breath of Cinder at the beginning to be like, hey guys, hey.
Just so you know,
this volume is about Cinder. Just so you know. And I love the audience 100% picked up on that. They're like, we're gonna get some Cinder stuff this season.
Yeah, no, I'm sure it infuriates people, but yeah, I love like teases that have multiple episodes between them too.
Oh yeah, I think settling on the backstory for when we did it was absolutely perfect. Like, yeah, here's the context for everything you've seen now.
Exactly. Yeah. And yeah, it was definitely one of those things where it was like, it came from this like, well, we can't fit everything in an episode, but then I think once we got into it and decided for this other place for it to be like halfway through the season, I think I'm glad we did that. Like it feels better. It feels like a better place for it.
I love giving the audience that feeling when like all the stuff clicks together. That is what I live for as a writer, at least, is that moment when the audience is like, oh.
Yeah, you want them to be excited, and
yeah,
it's fun to be able to do that.
Okay, the way that you executed this, like I remember when I wrote this into the script, I was like, all right, Carrie, I have like the craziest idea ever, but I really think that she needs a window in the whale, and like, what if she does it like this? And you're like, yeah, cool, all right. And I didn't see it. I didn't hear about it again, right? Until all of a sudden I saw the first episode and I was like, that's incredible.
I'm glad. The art team did an amazing job with all this, and from the concept, and then everybody executing on it. Designing Monstra was definitely one of those things that like I'm pretty sure every concept artist is like on a list now, because it was like we're having to find like all these organic things, and it's like what if we had like this wall but it was made of flesh? Okay, so everybody Google flesh now. That's just a bad word. It just doesn't feel good to say out loud. And it's like, how do we make it organic but not make stuff look like too gross? And it was a lot, but the team did like a really good job of I mean, we wanted it to feel creepy, but
Yeah.
also not like comical either. And I think they did a really good job of making it feel like realistically gruesome.
Yes, like because I think that was a really hard line. That was a really hard line to walk. It looked realistic while still being the inside of a gigantic, fake grim whale.
Real quick, shout out to Gus for being our Badger Man.
Oh,
I love him. I love that character so much, and Gus. I love Gus too. But
Badger Uncle was.
yeah,
I love that he got to come back in background shots throughout the season because, like, I think I just kind of wrote him in this one, and then I love that when you write little background characters. I'm sure Miles will say something about that in episode 2. Like when you write in little background characters and then the animators and have them come back throughout the season. It's my favorite.
Yeah, I mean that's honestly like it's again another thing that's kind of out of necessity, but then ends up being this really nice thing. Like we did that in volume 7, and we tried in a lot of volumes too. It's like, you know, we can only make so many characters, but you know, so then like the directors, Paul is really good about that. They all are, but you know, we'll like, hey, we have these characters. Well, now they can just kind of be the you know thoroughthread and like represent, you know, that aspect of the kind of population to the audience a little bit.
Their story is sort of representative of all Atlesian or all Mantle's citizen stories.
Like we did that in volume 7 with some of the different characters, and even in this volume too.
Oh, and it was so great to like give the huntresses more of their more screen time at the top of this volume, and
this I love this scene. This scene was a doozy. I remember it you know, in
so many people.
In the outline phase, even this was one where I think we all kind of eyed it like, oh, this is gonna be tough, because I mean, like it is hard to do large talking scenes in one room without it feeling kind of flat. But I feel like we were able to balance it in a way that, you know, with all of the emotions and like a couple different shifts, you know, we were able to you know, give it extra life, and I know it changed a couple times in the script, and then we even did kind of
it was Goldilocksing totally. We're like, you know, first version I did, it was like, okay, all right, girls are, especially the sisters, a little bit too aggressive. All right, so come back and like, okay, no, now this is a little too easygoing. And so we had to do a couple drafts until I got to the point where like, all right, great, this is the perfect amount of, you know, companionship and a little bit of built-up resentment and all those things. Yeah.
Well, it's that balance too of like, okay, here's information we know we need to get out. Let's make sure that gets on screen. But if that's all that's on screen,
it feels natural.
It's gonna feel, you know, just like a scene that was put there for like mechanics' sake. But then if we had too many like little jokes in or something, then it gets too long. And so it's a whole thing. So I thought you did a great job kind of like balancing on the script level, and then when, you know, we had a whole pass of it in the edit, and we were feeling good about it, like in the animatic, like we were feeling good about it, but we were just trying to figure out like, what is there anything we can do to give it like a little extra energy, or you know, break it up a little bit.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think it was Richard, our lead editor, and he was the editor on this. He suggested like, yeah, what if we do some kind of cutaway stuff? So we ended up doing these future flashes, you know, as they were talking about their plan.
Well, and I think symbolically they were fantastic, because I know there's the scenes, yes, this one, perfect, with the broken watch and the suitcase and stuff like that, just to give an overall mood of what things were like in Mantle. And we knew that was really important coming into this volume, is like, okay, we left in the middle of a war. So how do we make sure that it still looks and feels like we're in the middle of a war and people are running for their lives?
What would you need to launch?
Yeah, I think being able to like show those stakes a little bit. You know, look, everybody's always talking about show not tell, which you should. Here's my suggestion: show and tell. They're gonna say what the plan is doing, but we'll also show the plan at the same time.
Yeah.
You know, it's just more clear. You know, but yeah, it was definitely you know, having them this divided, I think was tough emotionally on everybody. But you know, I think, I mean, that's honestly the kind of the other big thing that this episode needed to do was like, we knew that the groups were going to be split up this season and split up in different ways than before. And, you know, we wanted to make sure that it all came from a, you know, natural feeling place and was set up correctly. So, you know, making sure that motivations were understood and you know, having that sense. I mean, I think it makes the reunion later in the season that much nicer when we are able to dwell on this a little bit and see what led into them splitting up.
All these characters were following their true ideals. Like this whole episode is about principles and priorities, and I really think that these teams made the most sense from a base character level of who would do what when put into this situation. And you really can see especially in Ren and Nora, right? You can see like Ren's history really makes him focus on what's practical. Like I want to do the thing where I know I can make a difference right now. Whereas I think it does a great job of bringing characters like Nora and Rwby together who really do see the big picture and want to save the whole world.
I also feel like too
we got to show that.
Yeah, exactly, and it played into so much of that, and I feel like also too, you know, kind of reflected on their experiences in Volume 7 as well, because I mean, like, there's times in Volume 7 where they may have actually been a little bit more flipped, but through the experiences that they had in Volume 7, I think, you know, they're starting to see things a little bit differently, and it was nice. It was nice to immediately show some of those like consequences or repercussions from how, you know, some of that went down.
Right, absolutely. Especially that final a couple episodes of 7, you can definitely see that in the way that Yang is responding here, where she's very kind of like hardened herself a little bit. Like she got some hurt and she needs to go do what she feels like she can do to make it right immediately.
Also, huge shout out to everybody that worked on this set. I think David Tilton started it, and Sana Freeman finished and did a lot of the detail stuff, and then just the whole modeling and lighting team and comp team of just like we were in this set for a very large chunk of this episode, but they made it look nice and interesting so that there was different.
I love that picture. I love that the fans seized on that picture too. Like, who are those people? Like, it feels like such a real place.
I think that's you know, it's super important to us that like everything is able to do at least something, you know, and you know, I'm you know, if things were different, maybe we would have had a half episode where we explored the owners and you know, met them or something like that. But even just having like a photo in the background, just be like, oh, this feels like somebody's establishment, you know,
right? And there were people here who cared about this place, and now they're gone. Like that's totally what comes across in that restaurant scene. Oh boy.
This phone call. Tell me where you are. I remember. I'm sure we're gonna talk about this a lot throughout this season, but Atlas needs you, Penny. Ironwood stuff was tough. You know, trying to find that balance of, you know, he's obviously continuing down this path, but you know, it's also still him. You know, it just so happens that now, you know, our heroes are on the other end of his ire.
Well, look at Ruby's face. Like she changed. She totally changed in that last chunk of the last season of like, I know that I cannot trust this man, and I'm gonna stand by my friends no matter what. It's like she gets a totally new version of herself.
I think one of the hardest decisions I had to make on this episode was what shot should come first at the beginning of the scene. Whether it should be the Aesop's or
I love
Clover.
what you settled on. I think that was really genius, actually, to make sure that we came in on the Aesop's reacting, and then we see what they're reacting to. It's like a punch in the gut.
Yeah, we originally had it the other way, and it definitely had a bit more of like a shock factor. But I think in the end, I'm really glad that, because I mean, we you know, focusing on the Aesop's, I think ended up being the right call. But thank you.
Yeah. Well, I think prioritizing that emotional like depth to the shock factor is, absolutely.
Yeah, I didn't want it to feel cheap.
Oh, Winter! This was so cool to see her new getup for the first time.
No one has ever seen a Grim Force this large before. The city's spotlight shields will hold
this was the one scene that I ended up writing that ended up in this episode. I'm gonna be perfectly 100% honest. I think we wrote this in 2019.
I am going to do everything I can to defend this kingdom.
Oh my god, I don't even know what.
What
this
year
is
is it right now?
I don't even know anymore. As the year, you know, from writing this to when it came out, this scene got tougher, got harder and harder to watch, just because of just how the world was evolving, and we were seeing things. So we obviously, no pun intended, stuck to our guns, but
there was a lot of things we wrote this season that as after we had finished writing it and like the world was changing around us, I felt a little bit like I'd cursed the world.
Yeah. It's just this weird feeling of like, I mean, like, all the things, like it still needs to accomplish all these things, but man, this is rough, huh? But I guess it's important to show that life is good and not good. So I show that. Love getting to see a little bit of the Hound here.
Oh yeah.
Fun fact, Kirsten and I, neither of us remember who wrote that scene. We were talking about it right before. We were like, who actually wrote that scene? I'm just gonna give you credit for it. Hey, the intro.
Thank you.
This is a super fun one. I think we tried to play with different themes, especially with like duality and past, obviously, with our cool anime shots.
I love the animation on this intro, I think, the most. I just really love, like, the symbolism just went to, I mean, it's all the intros have, been heavy in symbolism, but I also loved watching people trying to figure out, especially what the pink lightning and, the flower petals and stuff, they were like, ooh, we know this means some Ren and Nora stuff is coming, but what?
It's such a hard balance of like that having it shift through the petals, that. Like, obviously we know what's coming, but like, so we want to, my goal on the intro is usually so that every time you watch it, something happened in the last episode where you go, oh, that's what that means. Like that's my, the more that happens in a season, the happier I am. But yeah, like normal, Rwby knocked out of the park.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and I love that this intro like got people. They knew some stuff was coming.
Yeah, I'm excited for the season.
Me too. Good job.
Yeah, good job, everybody. All right, and we're back with Chapter 2, joined by Miles Luna, the writer on this episode.
Hey.
And Paula Decanini, the director of this episode. Hey, y'all.
Hi. We didn't have a ton of time with Crow and Robin and the prison crew, but every moment we got to spend with them made me really happy. I loved kind of the misdirection of the shots here in the opening to kind of give you a glimpse into Crow's own headspace about himself. Just getting to see these guys interact was just a lot of fun.
Yeah, I like this friendship that kind of got built up while they were stuck in one spot. Yeah, and then reveal of Watts over here. Yeah, he's been here the whole time. We tried to frame these opening shots to kind of make it feel real, like trapped and claustrophobic to go with the whole prison feeling.
Yeah, I thought y'all did a great job. Yeah, when I read that script, I was like, this is a really neat idea. I'm really glad I'm not directing this episode. But yeah, Paula, you nailed it. Hey, it also turns out it's pretty difficult to design a jail cell where they're all connected, but they can see each other and talk. But it turned out cool. I like it.
Just don't ask about the bathroom situation.
Well, hey, I mean, there's like a little square on the ground that lifts up for a toilet. It's there. If you look, it's there. All those like little squares, they lift up.
We did think about that, yeah.
Yeah. The concept artist did a really good job of making things feel like livable.
We can do something.
Yeah,
those benches kind of wreck their backs, though.
Oh yeah, the Viz Post did a great job with this. The shield wall between everyone. That took a little bit of figuring out, getting the transparency to work, but I think it turned out great.
Yeah, transparency in our 3D but cel shaded look is actually kind of difficult. So I think that was a little bit of a scary challenge for everybody, but it turned out great.
I love this news crew that's just like, I know it's the apocalypse, but we're in it for the views.
For sure. Yeah, I really like every time we cut around to the Happy Huntresses.
Mm-hmm.
I love seeing them. I kind of like imagine them as the older counterparts to Team Rwby.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
This was a long time coming, getting a hover bike.
Yeah.
That was like one of those like pre-season 1 concepts of like, at some point this chick's getting a hover bike and it's gonna be rad.
Are definitely missing out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This was
that corner turn's great. No, I would say that corner turn's great. Yeah.
Yeah, this was fun to animate. I think Adele did a great job on this one. We wanted to have a little bit of fun, yeah, because it's gonna get so bad at the end of this episode.
100%.
Like they're friends. They're gonna get along. They're gonna hit some rough patches here in the next scene, but you know they're starting out at least on a high point.
And shout out to also all the horrifying Where's Waldo games throughout this chapter of Where's the Hound? Love that.
Yeah, we show him 3 times, and I thought like it would take people a while to find him all. No, they found it immediately. Like
Yeah, they always do.
Yeah. I was like, man, the people watched it so closely, and they were like posting on Twitter like here, here, and here, and I was like, oh, I'd make them work for it a little bit at least.
This was like a really small thing, but the beginning of like a development with Jean's extension of his aura, a conversation that is in the middle of like a montage in volume 7 about like, hey, have you considered like trying to like extend it so you don't always have to touch everybody to protect everybody or give them an aura amp? And we had to kind of move some stuff around. I think originally those shield grenades were going to be in 7 as like, hey, you can't do it yet, so here's something you can kind of use in the meantime. I'm glad that they showed up here in volume 8 because I think they're fun. They're super cool.
It's a cool idea, yeah.
Yeah, I think yeah, part of it was like making sure we'd actually like get to use them, but I think we also kind of wanted this like you know, kind of like tiered drop to them of like, you know, like there are multiple upgrades, you know, so this was like I think there's a couple things that we split out because it's like, well, we probably don't need this in 7. Oh, racist grandma.
Get dunked on, lady.
Poor Shovel Mom. Yeah, I liked Shovel Mom a lot, and I tried to put them in the backgrounds, and I think Kiersey mentioned she likes it when we bring back like these side background characters a little bit. I do too.
Yeah, we were just talking about that chapter 1.
We're trying to bring it back a little bit if we can.
Yeah.
Just because it gives a face and a little bit of like something for the audience to latch onto with like the Mantle population, just some familiarity with them.
You all have every right to be upset, especially you, Oscar. I'm sorry I left you.
I'm not upset that you left. I'm upset you came
Yeah,
back.
I liked all of these dialogue back and forths
Oh, thanks.
between Oscar and Ozpin that we get throughout the season.
Long time coming. They needed to settle their stuff for a while, and it's tough too. I mean, it was you know, we knew that we wanted Oz to come back at the end of 7, and that's a cool note to end on, but it's a difficult note to pick up. You know, like there's so much that still needs to be said in such a brief amount of time. A lot of complex emotions for each of the characters, and so you know, this scene really needed to kind of like set up some of the things that they're going to be dealing with throughout the course of the season. And, you know, it's a thing where it's like, we need to let people know. And with Jean and Ren too, it's like, this is the introduction of a whole bunch of crap that we're going to deal with, and it's going to take some time. We're not going to do it all in one episode. And it, you know, it can lead to some frustration from a week to week viewing standpoint, which is totally understandable, but you got to eat your veggies.
For sure, yeah. No, I like that whole scene. I think really well set up this theme of how are we going to get along to get through this, like when we can't even see eye to eye, you know.
Well, yeah,
God,
especially
that was
after
a wild
chapter.
shot.
Yeah,
Sorry.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, especially after chapter 1, which was they already split into 2 groups, and then showing that even the 2 groups are having kind of some problems. It was just kind of this constant like, hey, things are not perfect, just so you know.
This scene that we're about to watch too also continues the unintentional tradition of me giving Kara Eberly the absolute most difficult lines to say. Snowshoe shipping, when writing it, doesn't seem like a big deal, but it is a bit of a tongue twister, and I always end up accidentally giving Kara those lines.
Yeah, it's weird that anti-disestablishmentarianism is like the most said word in all Volume 9. It's crazy,
We just need to find the one for the military base.
Are there any
Yeah, I had this secret headcanon that Weiss had visited this facility as a little girl and was like fascinated by pneumatic tubes and like learned everything about them. So when she's showing it off, there's a little bit of pride, like as she's introducing everybody.
I do not
And then
like it when
Blake
friends
just mocks her.
Well, I think too, like that kind of goes back to what we were talking about earlier with like the bike launch and stuff. Was just like we knew this was going to be a heavy season, so I think especially early on, I feel like it was very much like, where can we insert levity? We have to, we need it, but it's in the wrong spot, it can totally kind of kill a mood or make something feel trivial. So I think I think both of y'all did a great job on this. Of obviously like Rwby and Penny are having this like very intense conversation, but then the other group is in the chuckleheads, and we don't like mix them too much. So then that way we can get that separation and get a little bit of both.
Mm-hmm.
And it's always fun to poke fun at prim and proper Weiss
Yeah.
to make her look a little ridiculous.
It feels it harkens back to like the early seasons at Beacon a little bit.
Yeah.
I found it.
They're still the same kids. There's just a lot of baggage.
Turning back now.
Between our secret weapon and my semblance, you all could.
And then and we'll talk about this more too. But I mean, like even the design of this set, we were already thinking about kind of the in between space later in the season, and how these experiences could help kind of guide that. So that was early on. We were already trying to figure out like how do we kind of represent the crazy bridge system with tubes.
Man, this scene. This whole set. I mean, I can't recall. Have we already? Did we talk about the Pillar of Grim mini boss at all
we did.
in any of the other commentaries? Yeah, like this scene was setting up so much stuff that then ultimately got cut and had to get changed, and what we ended up with obviously worked. That what we were planning was just never going to work once we started learning more and more about what we were up against.
We'll end up talking a little bit more later, but yeah, there's definitely a little bit more to this stuff. I still think I'm glad we have it in there, because I feel like it's still, we talked about this a little bit in the chapter 1 commentary, but it just helps make the city feel more alive, and the stakes higher, like when these people a little bit more, and what they're trying to do, and yeah, I mean, we can say the town's in danger all we want, but until you see these shots where you see the people and you see the cute little kids that you don't want to die,
Fortunately, no one's getting arrested during the apocalypse.
Yeah, you see the people who are on the ground actually trying to do something, and just how hard it is to, organize this kind of stuff, because fights keep breaking out and you're running out of supplies. And it definitely makes this crisis feel real. Yeah.
Yeah. The dust refinery aside, which was like a big thing we had to set up originally, like other goals for this scene were to essentially explain like, hey, how come our cast of characters are having to do so much? It's like, well, because there's a million other huntsmen that are also doing a million other things. It's a big problem that Atlas and Mantle are faced with, to say the least.
Yeah, I mean, everybody's spread so thin, and some people are just in survival mode. This is awesome.
Some Wizard of Oz inspired tornado grenades.
So the set destruction on that was really cool.
I remember in talking about like what those grenades looked like, I was just like, just make it a spike grenade from Halo 3. This is just a spike grenade.
Which, I mean, it is inspired by World War II Russian grenades too. So
Right, but I grew up with one of those things and not the other, and therefore spike grenade.
Oh, okay. I thought you were gonna say World War II. Yeah, but you also grew up with Call of Duty too. So
hey, that's true. That's true.
Salem's forces aren't moving in, but it's enough to start attracting the stragglers.
Guys, we're not finished.
I was so excited for this moment.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we need to hurry this up and take.
We never see Grim scared.
What just?
I wonder why.
I was very much inspired to continue with apparently video games and Halo. Now that I think about it, the moment in Halo Combat Evolved where you see the Covenant running from something for the first time always stuck with me in my youth, and really wanted to evoke that same feeling of like, why are the things we're normally scared of something? Oh God, Oscar, you poor boy. That shot is so brutal. Great job, whoever worked on this shot. Oh my God.
This was Megan's shot, and she did do a great job.
Yeah, I think I've mentioned this before, but like, I'm always there's always like a point in the season where a director will come to me and be like, "Is this too gruesome?" And the answer is usually no. But this was definitely one of like, how do we make this just gnarly? The VFX team also did an amazing job. The effects team did an amazing job, just like with the kind of blobby skin of the hound. We wanted this like constantly moving, just like very living creature thing, and they were able to create this like amazing setup that on its own just worked in most shots, and then they were able to augment it and for like the wing stuff here coming up. But yeah, all the visuals here were great, Paula.
Yeah, I think we hurt the Oscar fans a little bit with this one. Our sweet little farm boy, we do not treat him very nicely this season.
You mean the hound squeaky toy?
Woof. The world of Remnant's tough.
Kids, what's your status? West Side's taking damage.
What do we do?
Kind of a crazy thing to end the episode on, but
Hey, sorry, Fiona, but have you ever seen something that completely rocked your world?
Yeah.
And makes you question everything about what you know? We gotta deal with that right now.
BRB. What's up, everybody? We're here with Chapter 3. We got Kiersey is returning as a writer for this episode, and this is also the first one we have for Dustin. Hey, Dustin, how you doing?
Hi, Carrie. Hi, everyone.
Dustin
Hello.
was the wonderful episode director. Kiersey, like I said, wrote this episode, and it's a fun one.
I'm so glad I got to rate this episode. I think I fought pretty hard for it.
Kiersey, I don't think you did. I think we were all kind of scared of the logistics of this one. So I think you volunteered, and we were like, sounds great. Have fun.
I was like, yes, heist episode. Let's go.
Yeah.
Also, like all the gags just came off so well. Like, huge props to Dustin for just nailing every single one of them.
Thanks. Yeah, I think the animation teams are really good with all of them.
Yeah, and the cool like a blueprint thing of the military base words.
Yeah, that shot whenever Penny does like the scan overlay kind of thing, and it like is green and it goes past, and you kind of see like the X-ray mode. That was one that was like in the storyboards, and then it just like it was just a storyboard for like ever, it seemed like, and then just like it's at the very end, it just all came together. It's like Post just showed me a version of it, and I was like, oh, we could actually do that. That's neat.
Yeah. Yeah, sometimes we put things in storyboards and we're like, can we do this? And then, yeah, we're always like pleasantly surprised. It's like, we can, yeah.
I love this part.
Oh, yeah,
Sorry.
No.
The face that Rwby makes is so perfect. She's like,
it's like, is this okay? Are we okay with this?
Oh, this was like another big thing for this episode too, is like figuring out when the camera or the audience can see the characters. So like in that shot, you know, we get to see like the camera passes through it, and then we can see the characters. So that was like kind of like the, I guess, language we like kind of came up with is like, if our camera's out, then we wouldn't really see the characters, but if the camera's inside the bubble, then we would see them.
But yeah, we also kind of had to make sure that the audience, you know, we came with that kind of distorted look so the audience would actually know, okay, something's happening in this shot, and not just be staring at a blank frame for 30 seconds. We're like, what's going on?
Yeah, that way we can still like move them through this facility, but yeah, totally.
Also, shout out to the 2D team for doing that cool little thought bubble of Penny explaining Ruby's complicated semblance for the rest of us.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Christy. I don't think that was called out in the script, but I wanted to like do it just because we have like always I don't know, that was like the first time we actually like explained it, and I think at the time I was watching like a lot of Dr. Stone, and they'll do stuff like that sometimes, and I was like kind of inspired by that. So I was like, I wanted to do like a little infographic kind of thing to like explain this really complex scientific, or not, you know, not science, but you know what I'm talking about.
Like, our science.
Yeah.
It totally fits Penny's language though, like for sure.
Yeah.
This is how she imagines the world.
I thought it was a nice
It's Penny
callback too,
vision.
because like, you know, in volume 1 we had the like RTAA style
totally
thought bubble.
Yeah,
and
definitely
not the
inspired by
arcade doesn't
that
look
too.
good, but now we have this like super cool style like explanation. Yeah, it was cool.
There were so many things like that in this episode where when I saw the execution of it, I was like, oh my god. Brilliant. Oh, Nora. I'm so glad that she got to like just really shine and do some super wild things this season. I know that was like one of our very earliest visions. God, poor Bill.
This is one of those things where it's like, I'm so glad with how it had turned out and everything. There was definitely a point when we were like looking at assets and stuff, and I'm like, is this worth it? Is all of this effort going to be worth it? And it was. The answer is it was.
Oh yeah, I love that shot. There's also a thing for whenever Bill's like getting scolded by his supervisor or whatever. We had a bunch of animators come in and do Walla. And one of my favorite things is whenever Ruby's semblance is up the stairs, you can hear someone, I think it was Vito or Matt, they say, you put salmon in the microwave. And it comes across like in the Walla though. I just think it's so funny.
It's so perfect. You can just tell there's so much like built up tension and resentment in this office.
I just love stuff like that. Just kind of like, there's clearly backstory here. We're not going to get into it though. Kind of stuff. This we talked about this scene a little bit, just in terms of like, you know, how like Pietro was going to kind of do this, and like, was it going to be too goofy or not? I felt like we ended up with like a good balance of like, it is obviously a little like goofy and funny to have like Pietro's voice coming out of Penny.
I love how her mouth moves so that you can tell like in this moment she's a robot.
Yeah, that's like we decided that we were gonna try to just do like open close with like each word instead of like actually the syllables how we normal like do the lip sync or whatever. But like you were saying, Carrie, it was a thing what like we had that idea early on, and it was like until it got to animation, we're like, is this gonna actually work?
Yeah, it was like we knew it'd be funny.
Yeah.
But we also want to make sure that it was like right for the moment. But no, I thought y'all did a great job executing on that.
Well, there's a really good balance too in this scene of like there's like the heavy undertone and then the really light piece happening on top. So like, oh wow, this is so funny that he's remoting into her, and then you're like, wow, that's like kind of weird that he's able to remote into her and like actually scary.
Yeah, there's like a great shot of like Ruby standing behind her like after it happens, and she has this look on her face like, what the?
Yeah. Like this is not okay.
Yeah.
Oh, there's a piece in here. Oh my goodness. We already just went past it, but there was something added to this scene when she doesn't mention Ren and the other two girls go, When that was added, I lost my mind. They're both just like, yeah, Nora. Who is it you're not talking about?
I thought that was a good example. I mean, that happens a lot, and I think it's like one of the nice things about, you know, us not keeping things too rigid. 'Cause I mean, it was definitely set up in the script, but I think, you know, yeah, Dustin, when you're working with it, it was like we can push this a little bit more, and like really hits it home that like, hey Nora, I think some talks need to happen.
Yeah, I think there's some things you're not dealing with.
Yeah, I feel so bad for Penny and all
I
this.
know.
It's,
She's so ready to come back and save the day.
Yeah, but you know, yeah, we're monsters.
If you stay
Penny in this little bit, like she's so excited to go back, and then she just turns and they have to tell her.
I mean, there's a lot of reasons it makes sense and it needed to be done that way. But you know, I was gonna say things worked out. I guess they didn't work out. But,
Oh God.
you know, this is such a great moment. Just like the tension.
Time to come home now, Penny.
This is my favorite. Marrow's like, how dare you?
Yeah. I know we were really excited because I mean, you know, we had, you know, a little bit of action in the first couple episodes, but I mean, like this was like the real,
this was the
like
big
first
one.
like real super big fight, you know. Which, you know, I think we were a little nervous about it being in the third episode, but you know, there's enough in the first couple, and then this one's such a big one that I think it all worked out. You know, it's
saving Penny as the maiden, I think was the right move because you know we got to see her use it just a little bit at the end of the last volume, but now you know she's had at least a couple hours to like sit with it, and she has a really good reason to pull out the stops.
Yeah.
And I'm glad we saved time to showcase that properly. And also this set that you guys built just ended up being perfect for the fight.
You always got to make sure your servers are, you know, a narrow hallway away from everything else. It's really important.
I remember envisioning that this space was sort of, because since Atlas has this, you know, military compound hanging off the bottom, basically, I kind of imagined a lot of these very, like, Star Wars-esque spaces, like that would be on a spaceship or something, since it's floating out in space, hanging off of a floating island.
Yeah, totally.
I mean, yeah, definitely heading there, yeah. Or they were, at least. They're trying.
This fight was, like you said, Kira, it was the first big fight, and I was really nervous to direct it, but I think it turned out really good. But one thing that was, like, a challenge for it, I guess, is just that there's so much effects and stuff, so I had to, like, make a spreadsheet that's like, here the wind is blowing like a tunnel, and then in this shot it starts to swirl, and then like here there's a thunderstorm, and then like, you know, and on and on and on and on, because there's just like so much stuff that's going on all at once.
And on top of that too, I think we really wanted to, and Kirsten, you kind of touched on this a little bit earlier too, is that, you know, Penny is, you know, she's in this kind of like weird middle zone where, I mean, she's, you know, a robot. She's very smart. She can process information very quickly, but she also has not had this power for very long.
Right.
So, you know, starting even in the script phase, and then especially getting like choreography, like it was important to us that like, oh, you know, she saw, you know, Freya do this. She's seen Cinder do this, you know, and kind of use that to help build her like repertoire of abilities and like figuring out how to do things. So, you know, a lot of this was like kind of based off of, you know, what she saw Freya do.
Yeah, totally.
And I think you make a great point too, that like she's not just your regular human who would get one of these powers and not know what each of the parts do. Her brain's gonna work totally differently. And
yeah, so she gets the easy mode a little bit for that.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, exactly. That's, I think, what makes this one so fun, is that like she kind of gets to start on level 3 instead of level 1.
Yeah. Oh no, she got separated. The music here was great too. I mean, just kind of the intenseness to quiet, and then yay.
Gosh, this came out so fantastic.
I'm trying to remember when we had the idea.
It was right at the very beginning. because we had decided, I think originally this location was going to be some sort of like power plant and a security fence around it. And so we knew that we wanted Nora to do a really big, really cool, like a Super Saiyan-esque move.
I think even back in Volume 7, we started talking about the, you know, I think I'm sure a couple of us brought this up, but like I remember being on Reddit one day and just seeing somebody who had like the I can't remember the name of it now, the scarring pattern from being struck by lightning. And we're just like, oh, this is great. We need to use this for Nora. Like this has to be a thing.
Yeah, and I'm really glad we decided to make it permanent. Like this is a moment that is not just an emotional milestone in her life, but it's a physical milestone in her life, and it's sort of the beginning of a lot of big changes for her as a character.
And it looks rad.
It looks awesome.
Not to discredit all of the nice sentimental things you just said, but it looks pretty tubular.
Carrie, doing her hair like that for that bit too, wasn't that like something that we had wanted to do in the past when she did her semblance, but like, it didn't play out, and so we actually got to find.
Yeah, it's one of those things where I think we kind of tried to like fake it in the past, but you know, we to do it the right way, and you know, we definitely felt like this moment was important enough. I mean, like that is essentially a whole nother asset for her. I mean, it's like a whole nother version of her, which is funny. Is for the rest of the season.
Oh yeah.
During like the layout and early animation process, sometimes we'll use they're called like mannequins, but they're basically just like a lighter version of the characters to just kind of get some base animation in or to work with until you get into the final stage. And hers had that hair turned on in a lot of the scenes. So there's like, we have play blasts throughout the season of her with that crazy hair and like super emotional scenes and stuff. Just because it's like the default.
Yeah, for like whatever reason, it like just couldn't be toggled. And so she just always had that.
Yeah, I was like, okay, well, I guess this will do this.
Have maiden hair 24/7.
Yeah.
Oh, the time has come, Penny. Gosh, also, one thing I really loved about writing this episode in particular is this group of characters have never been together, just them, before in the show. And it was so cool, so much fun.
I'm pretty sure we probably already talked about this, but yeah, we definitely put a lot into, you know, how we split these groups up, so it would be a more unique season.
Good work.
And then of course our last little villain touch.
Capturing Penny.
Well, you know what they say. If you can't beat them, then make them join you.
And on to chapter 4. Hello, everybody. Joining me on this episode, we've got Eddie Rivas, the writer for this episode.
Hello.
And Connor Pickens, who directed it.
Hi.
Discuss.
Oh, jailbirds.
My smooth introduction.
This is, I like this episode a lot. This was honestly maybe one of my favorites that I got to work on.
A great job. There's also, I guess, like small production. In fact, we ended up doing a lot of the animation and overall production for this episode first.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this was like right at the beginning of the pandemic, and we were like mid animation on this whenever we all had to go home and figure out how to do everything remotely. So like the chase scene was like entirely done remotely. I'm pretty sure. I don't think we had any in-person reviews.
Yeah, we were actually. This is the first. I think this is the first chapter in animation, wasn't it? Right.
It was, yeah. For the first time ever, we'd go just in order of the episodes, but for various reasons, I think of assets being ready before others, we decided to do this one first. And it was encouraging. I felt like once we saw this episode come together, it was like everybody realized we would be able to do this for the season.
Especially with how much is happening in this episode.
Eddie, is this the only episode you wrote alone this season?
No, I did a couple more, 9 and 12.
12?
Well, yeah, okay. 9 and 12 were the other ones I did solo. This one was fun to write. The weird thing about the Crow and Robin stuff was when we were planning and working on the outline for Volume 8, we were getting pretty into it, and we just realized that there were so many things to do. that we had to scale back and kind of park Crow and Robin somewhere. Carrie, do you remember that it was the last week of boarding for Volume 7, Chapter 13, and we asked them to change a board to arrest Crow and Robin?
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, I repressed it, but yeah.
It was like a last minute, like we were looking at it, we're like, we've got to park them somewhere for a little bit because there was not enough time to do like a whole other side venture.
Yeah, there's so many threads going on already.
Yeah, and even just the act of getting a scene in 8 of them getting arrested was going to be a little bit too much. I was like, well, if we can do this in 7, let's do it.
Yeah, so we just changed like one shot in the animatic basically for 13.
But they have a nice little story this season, I think, of learning to connect on their shared trauma and kind of like their experiences of isolation, and this is kind of the beginning of that connection. I think that scene that we just watched.
Yeah, it was nice to get to spend that time for sure.
I think it's been a big thing for us as the longer we've gone on, is like realizing when we don't have the time to do an entire idea justice and scaling it back early so that what we do still comes out well versus trying to bite off more than we can chew and then not being able to get to it at all.
Definitely. Yeah. This chase scene, oh my god,
great. It was kind of a technical nightmare, but it turned out great.
Yeah, anytime you're trying to do a scene like this where people need to be like moving very swiftly through a set in 3D animation is just always going to be crazy because there's kind of everything just has to be working in tandem, and it needs to be moving at a speed that it feels intense and natural. And we had a really good team of animators on this. I think Christina Osmus and Will Sherburn and Erica Susar, I think, worked on this. Joe Vick a little bit. And this is, it's so fun. This is the first chase scene that I have ever gotten to work on. I think, Carrie, you've done a couple. You did one in Volume 5, but it's a very different challenge than a fight scene. And we were definitely trying to... I was looking at a lot of like racing games when we were working on this. Star Wars pod racing was a big inspiration.
That's a wizard, man.
Yeah, this got me on. I watched Phantom Menace again. But just like getting the idea of like Yang going up on this side trail, there's always like a hidden path.
Yeah.
In, like Mario Kart or something.
Yeah, I think this is a great way to get that depth without having to make like 2 different sets or something like that. It allows us to have a little bit more room.
Writing wise, like usually like action sequences are kind of built out a lot more animatic stage, but this is one where there was a lot of the blocking and stuff was in the script, right? Just because it was like we need different people to be different places, so a lot of the beats were kind of already in the script, so it was cool watching it like just be really fun on screen too.
Yeah, I feel like typically like the distinction I usually make is like action, which is like less choreography based, tends to be a little bit more in the script. And then choreography stuff is typically not in the script. So like when we have stuff like this, it's like, hey, they go from this section to this section and this kind of stuff pops up. But then we continue to kind of work on it and be like, okay, well, let's have multiple Grim here or stuff like that.
I'm just a big fan of like big fun set pieces, and so this was fun to block out.
This is one of the first ones of the season too. There's the fight in 3, and then this is kind of the first time where people could just get that spectacle. But what you were saying about like the stuff in the script that was important, like Rin needed to be the MVP of this sequence to kind of set up his resentment over the rest of the episode, where he kind of feels like he's carrying everything.
Oh, you've picked a fine time to...
Not another word.
I know not everybody loved that, but I did.
Yeah.
It was just like Whitley needs to chill out. And he will.
Yeah. I think, this is a fun scene where like he has some character growth this season where he becomes less of kind of like a spoiled rich kid, and we see him being kind of like scared and unsure of what to do, but right now he's still fronting very much.
Yeah, I also just felt like it was important.
Playing it's families, right? You kind of play your parts in families, and he's still playing the part.
I just thought it was also kind of important for Weiss's growth too, to just show her standing up to the person, like the basically the one person still kind of trying to uphold what the Shinee name used to be.
Yeah. She's taking control of the house.
Yeah, that felt important to me.
Also, Mesa Haas just like straight up like like cleaning Nora up to like just straight up carrying her out.
She like walks off, not towards the stairs at the end of it, which is very funny to me. She's going to the elevator.
Yeah, I mean she's not gonna do the stairs now too.
Yeah.
So this is I'm really happy with this scene. I think everybody kind of knocked it out of the park with this. I really like the script, like just the dialogue here. I think it's something that we were building towards for a long time. Like you see Ren kind of like growing more alienated from his team throughout all of Volume 7, but there wasn't a lot of screen time for that to happen, and now we're kind of getting to see all that expressed in a pretty explosive way.
Yeah, it was interesting watching, kind of the reactions and stuff to Volume 7 as that was coming in, because we know that Rin kind of drew the short straw in Volume 7 character-wise, right? Like there was just things that we didn't have a chance to get to, and that was kind of on us for sure. But it was interesting, like knowing this was coming when seeing those like reactions and stuff coming in, and it was nice to get this payoff here. And God, I love the way this was shot, and I love their performances.
I want to shout out Hannah McCravey, the animator who worked on this shot. It's really hard to do a like 360-degree shot like this. That's also very long. But she did a great job.
And same thing for the art team too. I mean, typically our outdoor sets are, they're not always meant to be seen in every direction. A lot of times, like 270 degrees of it look great, and then like the last bit is like stuff's weird, and then it just goes to like black in one section or something. But this, I thought they did a great job of making this look interesting, but still like technically achievable.
Post department did a really nice job with this, with the lighting too, and the effects. And the concept for this and for the chase scenes were both done by Weston Jones.
I remember there was also I want to say in like the very first draft, I can't remember how long it survived, but he also threw some shade at John about overreacting with Cinder all the way back in Volume 5. I want to say that was the original thing, but I remember it was like one sting too many, right? It just needed to be the one big moment.
Yeah. I like that line there that Yang throws at him at the end, like, are you just trying to drive everybody away? I remember we did some shuffling of the dialogue in that scene. That was originally kind of like mid-argument.
Yeah,
I thought it was a nice way to that thing to leave Rin with.
It was a great shuffle.
Because he ends up doing... he has a lot of growth, but he needs some time to think about things off screen too. Leaving him with that felt right. This scene, I really like this little visual of Salem kind of tormenting Ozma with the memory of their children in the shadows.
God, the hound looks creepy in every pose.
Even when he's being a good boy like this.
Yeah.
This was one thing on our wish list, like, early for Volume 8 was getting these two characters right face to face with each other. And it was fun to play from this angle, right, where Oscar is pretending a little bit rather than being fully Ozpin, because it added an interesting wrinkle to it.
Perhaps you and I can have a better
so it was fun to play with it in that way.
I think in that shot too where Salem grabbed Oscar, the post team has started doing I think Autumn has been doing a lot of them, like these like additional kind of like wrinkles or shadows on their face for these more intense moments. I think that was one of the early ones. We did a lot with Ironwood at the end of the season too, to just kind of it's hard to kind of build that stuff in ahead of time and know it's going to get used. So then being able to kind of put that in at the post stage and kind of be flexible with it helped out a lot, and let us get some cool extra things.
This is kind of a important thing about what this scene does, is just like letting the audience know that Oscar is not going to get off easy just because he's a kid. And like I remember there was some debate about like how intense we wanted to go with these screams, like this performance here, because
I remember being a little concerned.
I think Eddie, you like slacked me like like a week before it came out. You're like, hey, you sure we should go this hard with that? but I think you just, I mean, yeah, he's in for a rough time after you watch the scene, and it's kind of implied that a lot's going to happen to him before he manages to get off this whale. And of course, at the end, we see Hazel, who's like has the most vitriol for him.
There was originally a line at the end of this that I love. I'm just a big fan of like kind of salty Salem. Like anytime she get like, and she does it like a couple of times in this episode. But there was originally a line where when she leaves and she says, "I'll leave you 3 to it," like basically like including Ozpin in that mix that I really loved and miss. I mean, I get why it's not there.
I always thought
I miss it.
I don't know. I think at one point I thought that was like an early tease at Hazel about to walk in the door.
Your Grace, what is that?
This is fun also because you see even Cinder's kind of like unnerved by the hound.
Yeah.
It's just kind of establishing the power rankings of this group.
Yeah, it's messed up when Cinder's like,
I want to search for Winter Maiden.
Well, I think early on we kind of set out that like Cinder was going to have a big story and big involvement in the season, but I think it was also important for it to not. Things aren't going perfect for her either, and I think that's one of the really interesting things about this volume is that no grouping has it easy.
But your Grace.
Everybody's going through a lot, and I think it's more interesting than just having the villains winning constantly.
Totally, and it's just good to have internal tension among the bad guys. Seeing Cinder get a little too arrogant, overstepping a little bit.
Well, that's the problem when your trusted team is a bunch of mercenaries who don't actually care about each other. I mean, it's like the classic kind of villain thing is like that is the thing that they are always going to lack from like the hero teams is that like they don't really care about each other that much.
I know what she said.
I love this. Except for this is another great set here. This like docking bay. I think this is the first time we really get like a good like we're actually shooting in it. Oh, I also love her little like Mary Poppins.
Yes, that's so good.
Have to call it out before it goes by. I had a question for you guys. Am I correct in remembering that was the fight in chapter 9 always staged in this docking bay, or did that get restaged here after it was like concepted and we were like, oh, this is a cool area?
I want to say it was meant to be here.
I think it was. I don't think we knew what it was at the time.
Yeah, I don't think we knew it was going to be like open.
But yeah, I think it was always like very much like the hangar bay fight, except it's made of flesh.
Yeah.
I did cheat my way into
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. Maybe. Yeah.
This scene got some late rewrites in the sense that like it was rewritten kind of like during animatic stage, which doesn't happen very often. And I'm trying to remember the reason why. There was something to do with Ren's arc. I remember we were shuffling.
I think it was just like by the time we get to him in chapter 7, he kind of has this like major like turnaround in character, like, and we were trying to kind of plant the seeds for him to like sit with that, sit with what John says about you're only like pushing everybody else away, and like this is a destructive dynamic for the team.
Well, and I think there was something else that got moved around that like, or because it was cut earlier and then it was going to be cut here, that we wanted to get something else in.
Yeah, we just had to make sure there's
exactly
enough
what it
connective
was.
tissue.
Yes.
It was also a thing that I was interested in was like we see the 3 of them. We see in the earlier scene they fight and it's all 3 of them together when they blow up, and I was wanting to see like how these people would behave when it becomes a one-on-one conversation, like in the aftermath.
Yeah, John and Yang can be a little bit more honest about their feelings with Ren if he's not around.
Yes.
and kind of what they're going through too.
Yeah, there was originally a little bit more framing here of. Cut for time. There was originally a bit more framing here, calling back to like the overall conflict between the two groups and why they split, and doing the different things that they did.
Yeah, but I think kind of like you're saying, we just want to
focus on.
We needed to make sure that the Ren stuff was coming through, and then also set up the spookiness to come.
Spooky.
Thanks for watching.
We've got our chapter 2 team returning.
Would you say the Dream Team?
I would maybe say the Dream Team. We'll think about it. We have Miles Luna, who wrote the episode.
Hi.
And Paula DeCanini, who directed it.
Hello.
Every team on Rwby's the Dream Team.
Yeah. I remember that, right?
It's a good team.
Miles, you wrote too?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right. Okay. Oh my god. I love seeing Pietro like getting his hands dirty.
Yeah, originally there was like a comedy beat of he was because this episode got really big and we had to trim some things out and change some things up, but originally there was like a comedy beat that also served as like an exposition thing where he had grav boots on the bottom of his chair and he was working on the outside of the tower, but like on the literal side of it, and Penny calling him like startled him and he dropped his wrench and was just like, oh, I'm not getting that back. Because I think at one point there was a whole thing where like when Cinder's attacking, the middle platform was like falling and like his chair was holding, but his chair got deactivated and he had to like crawl. It was like a whole thing. And then everyone was like, hey, remember length.
We briefly see the purple glow as he activates the chair, but
we still got elements of it all in, but not. I love that you can see Maria's sass through her mech's actions.
Alyssa animated that and she did a great job.
Also, a special guest on this commentary is my cat.
Nice.
I really like that we had a Penny-centric episode, and we got to see like more of her and Pietro's relationship fleshed out.
Yeah.
Because I think when we first saw them, they seem very happy and cheerful together, but there is a bit of friction there. He's a little overprotective of her.
For reasons I get, I understand.
Sure, yeah.
Not saying he's right, but I can sympathize with the man.
I mean, yeah, absolutely. I mean, he's a dad. He's gonna worry.
I thought this episode did a really good job of putting some focus on him and kind of his more character struggles. And obviously he's still helping out with the plot as a whole, but it definitely felt. Thank you. We appreciate it.
We know he and Maria weren't going to have a ton of time in this season, and we didn't want them to just feel like nothing but support characters. And so to make them really feel like they actually, we wanted them to have a moment. Is I guess what I'm saying. Like it was a brief arc, but it was an arc of, worry and trust and yeah. I'm really happy with how it all turned out.
Yeah, and it's hard to be like the older members of the team, and you can't get out there and fight. And you worry about the kids. Yeah, well, I mean, I say that, but Maria does.
Yeah, that fight changed a bit. Originally, it was just supposed to be, I think, Maria in the mech fighting Emerald and Neo, and then you had some fun ideas. I almost did a big curse, and I remembered I tried not to do that in Rwby.
Once they just said patoot.
Yeah, no, there was so much more dynamic and cool action that got added into this, action scene that turned out really great.
Yeah. And it was mentioned this is kind of a significant place for Penny to be having a fight where when she fought Pyrrha, this is where she lost.
It's very, very full circle. Which I mean, we had a similar beat, in Volume 7 where they got their licenses here as well, and it just felt kind of appropriate to have this here and have it almost be very much a round 2.
Yeah, we had to have a cool mech fight, and then we make it seem like they're just gonna stay in the machines, but then they get out of the machines and. You see, Maria still got it.
Oh yeah.
My notes for the fight was she's got her semblance, which is kind of like anticipation of her opponent's moves, and she's got all this muscle memory from years of being the best huntress out there. She doesn't have to really do anything. She can just be very minimum with her blocks and deflects, and
that's all she needs to do is just kind of stall to a degree.
Yeah. I mean, she's not gonna win the fight because Neo has more stamina and energy, but she can hold out for long enough. We had so many UI comps in this episode, I'm just remembering. We had a whole spreadsheet of all of them we had to try and keep straight.
UIs always turn into the thing where it seems like it's not a ton of work, but it really is. Just because it's like things have to make sense, and you have to figure out, well, we need the screen to do this thing in these 3 shots. Cool. What about the other 8 shots? What do they do in that? We're getting better at it, but.
Paul, I love your decision to pull this fight outside into the clouds.
Yeah, I was just gonna say.
Yeah, that when they're flying around Amity and you get a really good sense of the scale of how huge this thing is. Yeah, I loved all that animation. That was Megan who animated that, and yeah, I think my thinking was, yeah, Penny's trying to stay on the mission objective, gotta get that broadcast out, but so she's trying to lure Cinder away and not engage in a fight, and all Cinder wants to do is engage in a fight.
Yeah, this really is like Cinder at some of her most manic, because it's also kind of our last big moment of her, getting in way over her head and making some huge mistakes and fighting with anger and reckless abandon and not really thinking her way through stuff. And so, like, really cranked up her aggression to 11.
Yeah. She's throwing everything she has at Penny. And we even see her try a style of fight we've never really seen her fight, which she just gets right in there and starts grappling with her, like wrestling hand to hand. Yeah, because, we talked about it, she's been in a few fights now with maidens, and she's lost most of them.
Yeah. She went against Salem.
She's not supposed to be here, yeah. So she's kind of the mindset, I'll ask for forgiveness since asking for permission didn't work.
Well, I think she knows if she returns with everything that she's supposed to, that she'll probably be okay. But that's not gonna happen.
No, and we wanted to really up the drama by showing, Cinder got her Grim hand on there. She almost sucked out the maiden power. She almost won here. And then, we wanted to make clear that Penny's gonna beat Cinder by doing something that only Penny could do, which is supercharge her lasers.
Right, her robotic abilities.
Because at the end of the season, she's not gonna have that. Yeah. And that's how Cinder's gonna win ultimately. I tried to make that a little bit look like in the next episode when we see the flashback and when she got the shock collar.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh, I like that.
It's a good call.
Yeah.
I know. I can't beat you.
That's like, you almost feel for Cinder. You really do.
I really feel for Emerald.
Oh, yeah.
I just want this girl to be okay.
And Penny does too. Like, I think, Penny can tell.
Yeah. Yeah, I wanted to show Penny, she's a good guy. She's not gonna fight an opponent who's disarmed and incapacitated.
Also, not her top priority right now. Like, she's gotta get this thing back in the air.
Yeah, I mean,
like,
plus,
all she needs for them is to leave. That's it. Just like, please leave so we can try and fix this.
Yeah, I think Penny probably deep down knows that Cinder returning to Salem empty-handed is punishment enough.
Yeah, so this was the scene I think I probably cried the most on while I was working on in prep. I don't know, this one really, really got me in my heart. Just this,
I mean, especially
parent and child not
knowing
wanting to let her go.
where things are going later in the volume with Penny.
Yeah.
She's right, Pietro. We have to remember the big picture.
One of the big challenges too that I was kind of focusing on was I had to make sure that Pietro was not talked down by like having a promise of like, hey, it's okay, I'm gonna be okay, I'll be back, I'll see you again, because I knew that wasn't gonna be the case. It had to be, and also not really the point of his arc. The arc is like, you have to be okay with me living my life, even if that means it's maybe not always gonna go the way that you want it to go.
Which I think in general Serge is great setup for what did happen at the end of the volume is, again, like her getting to actually live her way, which
she got to choose.
Yeah.
What she was going to do.
Yeah, because I kind of felt like at the end of the season, yes, Penny becomes a real girl, but this is the episode where she becomes a full person with like her own agency.
Yeah. Like it's played as a joke, but Pietro literally taking control of her a few episodes earlier was very, very intentional to show that like how often Penny loses her own autonomy. Yeah, that was a little bit of setup for this. I love this quiet moment you put in here.
I love it too. Yeah, I wanted to really just let that moment breathe of Penny feeling content with herself. She's about to do this very superhuman thing, but she's gonna have a nice human moment. And this whole part with the broadcast was really exciting. It was like, okay, we're gonna cut around to the whole world. Who are we seeing? What are they doing? What's it look like?
Yeah, I felt like a kid in a candy store because it's like, ooh, get to choose how many little cameos here. And it's what I really liked about it too is that it also serves as a reminder of like how far these heroes have come, how many places they've been, how many lives they've touched. Like it was really, I really enjoyed this.
Oh yeah.
Huge moment in the series, huge moment for the entire world.
Got Shovel Mom and Fox Mom. Put them back in there. We gotta finally get to check in on Sun and Neptune. A little sneak peek of Vacuo.
Beautiful sunset. Oh, Ilya.
I can't believe I made $1,000 just for saying that one. I'm just kidding. I love to think too. I mean, we're here too, but like, it really feels like this only works with Penny because she is both a robot and a maiden. Like the fact that she's using kind of both of those to make this happen. I really love.
I love that we got to see Glinda.
Oh yeah.
Very briefly.
And Shopkeep. Let's not forget Shopkeep.
And Shopkeep, of course, always Shopkeep.
It seems Polendina's proxy trick worked.
And I love all of these bits with Watts because it's so obvious he's gonna backstab Ironwood. Like, Ironwood, you really shouldn't have trusted him. But the animators did a great job putting that sly, sneaky, smug look on his face.
I mean, in the end, he still mostly did what Ironwood wanted. Mostly.
Yeah.
Kind of.
I liked Ruby's little expression of, whoa.
It's me.
There was also this, when it comes to Watts, Watts is being conniving and he's being, dastardly mustache man. But, Watts' this whole thing, right? He's furious that Ironwood chose Pietro over him. And even though, like, he has this plan, and it definitely adds a huge complication for our heroes and their plans, he still doesn't understand what makes Penny Penny. Like, he still can't wrap his mind around the soul thing that Pietro could figure out. And, like, I think that was just something that I just loved that little detail. And that even though he thinks he's smarter than everyone, even when he's, like, doing a big brain move, nah, man, you ain't got nothing on Pietro. And oh my God, my heart!
That was so beautifully animated. I loved it. I love it so much.
I remember we kind of, at least conceptually, referenced the scene in Iron Man when he gets up and gets frozen.
I also love that we had a brief moment to touch in with Ty, who's kind of also going through the same thing. Another dad who's hasn't seen his daughters in a long time, and but he had to let him go, you know?
What did you do?
Exactly what you asked.
I want that little screwdriver set. Our art team's so awesome. It's like it will never be a simple thing, like in a good way. Like it's like, hey, we need a screwdriver set. Okay, here's this really cool screwdriver set.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, awesome. Heck yeah.
Winter.
Sir?
Until Penny
Oh, I love
responds,
this bit with Watts's like just looking at her like, yeah, you know, and she's like, yeah, I do know.
Yeah.
I'm not cool with
you know,
this.
watching Ironwood do, you know, a deal with the devil, you know.
Mm-hmm.
The sneakiness was great here. Don't mind me. I'll just take this little broken piece. No
I'll
one
take
needs
this
that.
Joy-Con.
Yeah.
I'll fix the joystick drift.
Yeah. Don't worry about sending it to Nintendo. I got it. I know a guy.
I wish we didn't get to show a whole lot of the Grim River. I really wish we could have, because this was such a cool idea.
It was a much bigger part of the story in earlier drafts of the season, but for a million reasons, things had to kind of get moved around and rewritten. Yeah. And I'm glad that we still get that cool little glimpse of it before it becomes the horrible giant arm blast.
It still turned out pretty spooky.
Ghostbusters 2!
So the way we've been doing all of these is we've had me and then the writer and the director, and that would have left just me, and I was too scared to do that.
In a room by yourself, just talking to yourself.
I've brought in the other writers.
You get alone with your thoughts, and that's scary.
which is a great summary of my experience working on Chapter 6. Was
instead you get us.
Yeah. I would love for y'all to just talk about this episode and praise me and talk about all of the clever things that I did. No, I mean, curiously, we talked about this a little bit in Chapter 1's commentary, but I mean, like, originally, most, if not all of this was written for Chapter 1. And then, once we got kind of everything together, we were like, this isn't gonna fit. And then we looked at it a little more and we're like, what if this was more of like a mid-season thing? And it kind of shifted. And I think I ended up rewriting a good, most of my memories of this episode are very hazy. I just remember going to the Austin Public Library and forcing myself to work there, because if I worked at home, I wouldn't get anything done.
I mean, Carrie, in your defense, it wouldn't be a Cinder backstory if it got delayed one more time.
Yeah, one last time for the road.
It was supposed to be in volume 5, I think, was when we were supposed to see this. And then it just kept getting pushed and pushed and pushed and pushed, because there was just like other things that we felt like we needed to do first. And long overdue, but happy to finally have it.
Yeah.
And
this is a really fun episode to work on. It's not too often that it is also, unfortunately, just by its nature, kind of an expensive episode, because it's a bunch of stuff that we're not going to reuse and unique stuff. But we felt like for Cinder and really trying to finally get to see this story that we envisioned for a while, like it was worth it to do.
The hotel look is so beautiful. Oh my god.
Yeah.
It's like buying a new toothbrush for every time you brush your teeth. That's an analogy I have to make for people that don't work in this field.
Gosh, it came out so good though. The music, like all the character design for young Cinder and the sisters and evil stepmother was just killer.
I was just so worried that it was going to be too brutal, but I think
that's the perfectly amount of brutal though to be like to lead us to the Cinder as she is now.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the aging up with the hairstyles. Little touch.
Yeah, we going back to it. I mean, like there's obviously creating a character from scratch is different than altering a character, but I mean, with every version of a character we have, like there's an amount of work that has to happen. So yeah, we kind of had to be choosy and try and do it in different ways. Yeah, between her and Road, we definitely, try to find anything we could to do. But yeah, I think that the hair change helped a lot.
Yeah, I also love her little uneven ponytails. I remember like the first time I watched an animatic of this episode, I was like, that's perfect. It says so much with such a tiny little detail.
She never had anyone to help her.
You, I am nothing.
I think, at least for me, I don't know about how y'all feel about this, I think for me the goal of this was to make you almost feel bad for Cinder. And you know, probably feel bad in general, but not also sympathize with her too much either.
Yeah,
you know?
I mean, you can. There's a difference between like
understanding.
Yes, understanding and forgiving, right? Like a person can do a bad thing, and you can still understand why they were maybe felt as though they had to act or behave or like do the things that they did without necessarily condoning it.
Well, I mean, she's also not right. Like he had a lot of blame in this too.
Oh yeah,
right?
1000% Rhodes.
Yeah, like Rhodes had a lot of blame. So it's not just about like Cinder was always crazy and did a bad thing. It was right, like it, lessons
kind of
learned.
Reckless Sky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And a broken system.
Yeah, and all of those things are very hard to communicate. I do feel like there's a couple things I could have done a better job with, but they're not perfect characters. Like they're not always gonna do the right thing, and it's definitely a balance. And like I said, I think I got most of the way there. But
yeah, no, I think it's great. Also, just this is probably just for me and nobody else, but every time I look at Rhodes, I just imagine Locust from Red vs. Blue.
I can see that.
If he was in a different dimension.
Yeah.
What?
Rhodes is absolute man candy. Like that was my big takeaway from the Cinder flashback.
God, I want to take that phrase and just keep it for absolute man candy. Heck yeah.
I think my only contribution to this episode was his semblance. I felt extremely cool when that ended up in the final product. I was like, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I think that's the reason I want to have y'all on here too, is that like I this is the one that I wrote and directed on my own, but it was definitely not just all me. Y'all contributed a lot, and this is a story like Henry was saying before, is a story we've wanted to tell for a while. And it's also this, with especially the end of this episode, I mean, like this is definitely a big turning point and kind of the start of the rest of the season, basically.
Yeah.
With Monster Landing. So it was a biggin.
Yeah, well, this was like a really important symbol to the audience that this is going to be significantly a Cinder's story.
What I think was so funny too is that because they're like, and this isn't just our audience, but like audiences in general have kind of like been sort of trained to expect that like whenever you get character backstory, like suddenly it's like the character's either gonna die or maybe they're gonna like turn over a new leaf. And then after Watts' teardown of Cinder, everyone was like, oh, maybe Cinder's gonna change. And it was very fun being like, no, she's just gonna get better at being bad.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes people don't change,
Or if they do change, sometimes they just change by becoming even better at being a terrible person.
Yes.
Well,
yeah, and it's kind of like this is why she keeps making the decisions she's gonna keep making.
Yep.
She's not gonna be under anyone's thumb.
And then that was something we wanted to we said earlier in the season and throughout of just this this general idea of she even when she is working under somebody or if it's temporary, she's always gonna want to get back on top. And this to me kind of felt like establishing that pretty early for her, is that like she's not going to even be equals with anybody if she can help it.
It's interesting. I remember, not to jump too far ahead from after this fight, which is rad, but it's interesting, like we knew when we were outlining this that this was going to be Cinder's volume, but remember how we just had so many, it took us so long to settle on what the back half of the season looked like for her. And I remember we kept going back and forth about that. Like it made total sense that she would choose to go to Amity on her own accord. But after that we were like, we had to work really hard to figure out, well, what's gonna happen next when she comes back, right? Like, and wasn't until we were like, oh, what is the thing that Salem does best? Is manipulation, and that's when all those pieces fell into place. I remember.
I think we even started with a version of it where, she comes back and Salem does her usual, like, I'm gonna dress you down. I'm gonna tell you all the mistakes you made and all the things that you did wrong. And I remember having a moment of like, Salem is smarter than that. Mm-hmm. Like she knows why Cinder does the things that she does. So what's gonna be the strategic smart move from Salem rather than doing what she usually does if she wants to keep this pretty important player, in her army still.
I feel like that's another like unintended circumstance of us realizing that this wasn't going to fit in chapter 1. Then, because chapter 1 changed a little bit and we got that scene with Salem in chapter 1, that led us to this scene, and then we could look back on the chapter 1 scene and go, these are two similar. Yeah, exactly. You said like Salem is smarter than this. I think we could do something different with this. And I feel like then having, Cinder's reflection of her past life happening between her failure in 5 and her, new beginnings in the second half of this episode was like a nice way to bridge that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I just realized too, you can see a really nice comparison of leadership qualities here. The way that Cinder treats her underlings, because she doesn't have that strategic mindset just yet. Mm-hmm. She's still pretty one-dimensional in the way that she leads her group, as opposed to Salem's in the next scene here, where she's figuring out like leadership of this group of people means something different for each of them.
Yeah. The kind of idea I feel like was like when Cinder got her powers, it was like it was like the brand new toy that made her feel the best and made her feel the strongest, and she just got like addicted to that power and that feeling that she just kind of like was no longer considering the strengths that she had to acquire prior to that moment. Like, and yeah, it's just this moment of just like getting verbally smacked down by Watts is kind of like, hey, get it together, lady.
And Kirsten, to your point too, like I also feel like, seeing kind of where Cinder came from and the choices she's made that still led her here, on the heels of, Emerald now starting to have this like, is this really the person I want to back? Right. Like seeing that Cinder treating people the same way she was treated is not working out for her, I think was just like a nice way to kind of tie all that together.
Yeah.
This
absolutely.
Oscar, Oz, Hazel stuff was very meticulously plotted out too. I remember that was something that we did a lot of shuffling around, and I think it was me and Kiersey that went off and broke off at one point and said like, okay, we have probably only this many scenes, right? Like just because you start to get a sense of like how long everything's taking, and it's like we have this many scenes. What do we do? And what's the progression, right, of getting of letting Ozpin, Oscar, Hazel, and then ultimately Emerald all make their own choices in a way that is organic and fits in these episodes. I remember me and you had to coordinate a lot between all three of us had to coordinate a lot between 6, 7, and 9.
Yeah, I was gonna say even after y'all had kind of strike team to like really try to figure out what are all the beats we have to hit. Even knowing that, then between what went in 6, 7, and 9 kept changing as well.
Yeah.
Like I think that Hazel, like this scene that we just watched was probably the one that got the most rewritten, at least for chapter 6, just because like we would do a draft and be like, oh, there's too much similar between 6 and 7, or we didn't get this, but how do we get it in 6 or in 7?
Yeah,
like,
we need to do this one like tiny thing so that in 7, right, we can take that extra step.
I think at some point I actually made a file where I took all those scenes and stitched them together to make sure that if I saw this as one single like continuous scene, would it work perfectly? Yeah. But I think given the time constraints that we had, that evolution, that progression, I'm really happy with. I'm really proud of.
It's a funny detail. It cracks me up for some reason that Tyrion holds his phone out all proudly. I got
text.
Yeah.
We wanted to make sure. I think that was one of those ones where originally in the script it was like we had the message written out.
Yeah.
And it was like we have to show this on screen. And then once we got to it, was like I think we're okay, but we need to make sure it's still clear.
Yeah.
We just, we couldn't put that many eggplant emojis on the scroll.
Yeah.
Just decided
That's how Watts and Tyrion communicate.
I think Tyrion communicates almost exclusively with emojis, and it drives Watts insane. Watts is the guy that signs his name at the end of a text message.
And uses periods and capitals always.
Yes.
Tyrion's like a keyboard masher. Just because he knows it makes Watts angry. I gotta snort.
Just imagine Tyrion responding with gifts to things.
Yeah.
Oh man. Oof.
Oh, I forgot we had a check-in with these guys in this episode.
There's a lot in this episode.
Oh, the stuff is still coming. I love this one. Like I think this episode was one of the ones I was the most excited to air. Just to watch people's
Is this the
response.
episode that has like the least amount of our like quote unquote main characters?
I think so.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
steps away from the kind of main crew. I remember having these characters, and I'm sure you guys will be able to talk more about this in chapter 7, but having these characters link up, right? Sometimes the temptation when you're outlining stuff is like, well, we can't put these together because then they're going to have to like do these things. That sort of deviates us from this other. But like, I remember having these characters meet up with each other solved so many problems for us.
Yeah.
Right. And getting everybody back onto the same part of the kingdom,
Yeah, I remember how many times we discussed like ways that we could get the Team B back to Atlas, and then at some point one of us was like, "What if they just fly back on a plane?"
Yeah. What if the Aesops just capture them? That's what the Aesops are supposed to be doing.
But it just led to this. And I can't remember how much this we already had or we're just kind of trying to head towards. But it's like it gets them back in the military base, like back in Atlas. It gets them. Like we get to see more of, Winter and Harriet kind of struggling with like what path they're going down. It kind of gets, Ren primed to with his semblance. It did a lot. Yeah. This whole scene was an undertaking, and so thanks everybody. This was almost every single shot is different in terms of if it's a matte painting, if there's effects, how the effects are done. It was crazy, but I was super happy with how it turned out.
Oops, all bad guys.
Ma'am,
this is my favorite part.
Parking garage is on the east side actually, but okay, you're just gonna go there. That's fine.
It's fine. Just park wherever.
Yeah.
I remember the first time I saw how big the whale was in comparison to all of Atlas, and one of the writers was like, "Oh,
they're in trouble." Let's put it that way. We're back with the Dream Team. I'm gonna say that every episode now. This is my new.
Now I know
thing
it's not
starting.
special."
No, shh, don't worry. We've got Kiersey and Miles, who co-wrote this episode, and Connor, who directed this episode.
Hello.
Hello.
Hey. We've got these luscious wheat fields.
Luscious wheat fields, yeah. Gotta shout out Ryan Bowden, our effects artist, for doing some grass for us. But this was a really fun beginning of an episode. I don't know. It's like the only thing we really get to see of like the battle. So we wanted to pack as much like scope into it as possible, and we were definitely looking at a lot of like Lord of the Rings influence, which is Rwby, like a constant reference, but like Battle of Pelennor Fields and.
The music is perfect for that.
It's a great way of like because week to week we have to rebuild, remind the audience what's happening instead of just diving right into a fight or whatever. Like this is just building tension and anticipation, and then you get this right here where it's just like, let's go.
Yeah.
It was fun to bring all these Grimm back too. There's some we haven't seen in a while. We talked about bringing like what are the Scorpions, the Deathstalkers?
Oh yeah.
We almost brought those back, but
those were gonna need a little bit more cleanup than some of the others. So it made the cutting room floor.
I love the way that you guys executed the barfing whale. That's my favorite thing in the whole world. Just throwing up Grim everywhere.
Yeah, it was like
pretty disgusting.
Well, we kind of had to, right? Because it was like, well, where'd this river of Grim come from? And the idea was that this would kind of show it's like, hey, it came from this thing.
These characters here in the park. Oh, that's my Pick and Square Station Easter egg.
Yeah. I love
that. These characters here in the park are modeled, or this guy's modeled after our art producer Matt Cruz, and his daughter voices the daughter character.
That's fine. I always got Lin-Manuel Miranda vibes from that guy.
Oh yeah,
I get that from Matt Cruz too, so it all makes sense. It all.
I think it's the hat. It's the hat.
But yeah, I mean, Connor, you brought up a good point too at the beginning of this, which is I think just something that it is a little out of necessity, but I also kind of has turned into a preference for me as well. As it is genuinely more costly and complicated to do a lot of, call it medium level action shots than it is to do a few of like really epic crazy stuff, because there's just kind of this like certain amount of overhead that it takes to get all that stuff together. So it's almost easier to just do a bunch of really big ones, or I mean like a small handful of really big ones, instead of like let's get a whole scene with just a little bit of action in the background. It actually kind of saves the production, and I think also gives it that bigger feel as well. I thought y'all did a great job of making this really feel like a genuine battle.
Yeah, shout out to Sean Cunningham, our lead crowds artist, for doing a lot of heavy lifting here. In a shot like this, you can see it too. I got made fun of for this episode for doing too many orbits. This is, I think, the first one. I just call him out as I see.
This episode? I'm just kidding. That's your thing. You like orbits. It's emotional.
I like orbits. I'm the orbit guy.
Well, it works perfectly. Because this episode is like all emotions, which is great to do an orbit around a character's face, and amazing on the ground battle scenes. Also fantastic for circle around and see the scope of it kind of shot.
Yeah, very, very cinematic. I loved this beat that you guys wrote in with Salem like conducting.
Yeah, the opera.
Literally conducting. It's very cool.
Yeah.
Well, it would have been weird, like, because like we needed to show that like she's having to focus to do all of this, because it would be kind of weird if like it was the big time to storm everything and she was just like, I'm gonna chill, like I'm good actually, I'm gonna like, I don't know, do my nails, maybe catch up on some social media. No, we definitely needed Salem preoccupied in doing stuff, and also it's just cool.
Well, and we needed Emerald to see her being the like queen of death and destruction. She's like, oh man, like this is she's having fun.
Remember too that Grimm aren't.
That's not okay.
Grimm on their own aren't super smart. Like they do still need to be kind of led.
Yeah, and she's literally there. She's like drawing the grim goo out of Monstra and like pushing it forward, which is awesome too.
She's actually the Remnant's most renowned Grim veterinarian.
She's a goo bender.
Yeah. Gross. I got some videos I can show you later, Connor.
Oh God.
We talked about this a little bit in the last episode, but just kind of there's a lot that went in kind of like the writing side, and I also feel like the directing side too of making sure that this scene and the previous scene in 6 were unique. I thought you did a really good job of kind of continuing their conversation here, and then kind of showing like Hazel reluctantly starting to listen.
Yeah, you kind of end this scene like on thinking that Ozpin might be getting through to him, only to dash it when we get back to the other side. But this is such a fun set to shoot in. There's so many like weird little details to. Yeah, I love that goo on top. But we try to do a thing with this episode where like Ozpin is still trying to get through to Hazel by like convincing him or manipulating him. And so we did a lot of like, anytime we were shooting Ozpin, the camera's usually like moving or maybe orbiting or doing something, and then when Oscar takes over, when we come back to the scene, the camera's just like totally still, because he's kind of being very straightforward, and he just decides to trust him, which is like the thing that really gets through to Hazel.
Yeah.
Because she pushed you to think it would help you.
And then we go to Schnee Manor. Which this is I think the first time we're back in this set since Volume 4, when Weiss escapes. And we wanted to give this scene a different feel than how we've seen it in the past, because usually it's just very cold and like unforgiving. And because she's here with her friends, we wanted to like make it feel a little bit warmer and homier. So we had the fireplace on. Obviously, they're drinking tea.
She needs a doctor. Hopefully May's able to reach the others.
running around the kingdom and conducting a heist is probably
That's something that I definitely like over the course of this, season had to keep reminding myself that's like, I think the season takes place over like 2.5 days, like 3, like it's not a lot. Like they're in go mode for a while. So I think sometimes there's part of me that's like, should we really just have them like, be sitting here drinking tea? And there's another part of me that's like, yeah, like they need a minute.
They think their friend is gonna die also.
Like, yeah, like they can't, this isn't like a, Jason Statham movie. Although, Jason, if you're listening, hit me up. But it's like, it's completely reasonable for them to just like need a second,
Mm-hmm.
Well, they're still waiting to find out what happened to their friends too. Like,
Yeah.
do we stay here and wait for them to find us? It's the question of like when you're lost in the woods, when you're out hiking, you're supposed to either stay where you are so the other people can find you, or do you go after them?
I didn't even think about that.
Gosh, this performance here also, Caden's performance here was so fantastic. Like,
Yeah.
this was
Definitely
great.
a big scene for May and just kind of getting some of this information out that, I think we talked a little bit on social media, but getting it in the show and getting to hear a little bit more about, her experiences in Atlas and how that kind of, tied back to the kind of Atlas elite that we always talk about. I thought it worked out really nice. And
Yeah, and her passion for Mantle that clearly her
Yeah.
Elysian family does not agree with, but she pursued what felt right to her pretty much to the end. I really love also the way that the Schnee family arc plays out over these couple of episodes when they get to the manor. Like, I know that was a huge point we wanted to hit in this season, and Whitley's story arc here is
yeah,
my favorite.
Yeah, it's definitely, yeah.
He's
it's
so
kind of
ominous in that previous scene, and then
yeah.
But if Gretchen's death taught me one thing, it was never to trust you.
Please, let me.
But Oscar.
So this is where the camera really slows down here. What were you saying, Kerry?
Oh no, I really liked how this worked out, script and directorial wise of this kind of Oscar in control, Osmond steps in 6, and then in 7 it's Osmond in control and then Oscar steps in. Like we kind
of mirror.
Yeah, it mirrored and kind of I think helped Hazel see multiple perspectives. And a little bit more of the reality of what's going on.
Yeah, this is a big episode for just like, there's 2 kind of breakaway arcs from the bad guys that need to be happening like side by side, the Emerald and the Hazel one. And this is a good way of getting it both done. The Emerald is kind of taking a step against Salem by, going and eavesdropping where she shouldn't be, and also getting this information.
Also, Canon, that's all Mercury wears. He has 4 of the same outfit.
He's got 4.
I was wondering what was in his bag.
I mean, I think I've said this
we should have put some like mustard stains on one of them or something.
Yeah,
a cinder sock puppet to shout out to Chibi.
I would if I could just wear the same clothes every day. I would. I'm definitely in that boat. Oh, Tyrion.
Tyrion. Yeah. I was so glad that Miles jumped in and helped me write this episode, because there are a lot of little places where I was just like, I've written this episode so many times, been so many different iterations that I just like can't do it all anymore, please.
We always for a very long time we were working on this idea that Tyrion, as a passive observer, someone would be like, oh, that guy's crazy, he has no idea what he's talking about, he's out of his mind. And it's like, yeah, he definitely has some issues, but he's also like extremely observant and is like the only one who can really see what's happening here, and also is probably the only one that's 1,000% on board.
Yeah, he's the only one with like clarity on the situation, and
Yeah.
Mercury gets clarity, but too late.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, he's all in and he knows exactly what's going on. I'm excited for some of the ones I've seen and all the ones in the future of Tyrion and Mercury's adventures until we see them again. The buddy cop movie, the spin-off that we're actually secretly writing.
God, what I would give.
This was probably the hardest scene of this episode to direct, and I imagine probably the hardest scene to write too. I feel like bringing this Ren stuff home was just it's kind of like a complex idea to get across.
We went back and forth a lot. I know you and I did, Connor, a little bit in this episode, like just how to execute this, and then also like the whole, the idea of Ren's semblance had been there all along, but it was one day, like Miles and I were just sitting there workshopping this, like, how do we visually make this happen? And then Miles was like, the petals.
What if we just threw flowers at it?
It's so pretty. I love the way it turned out. But it's also like it needs to be a moment where he is kind of like getting clarity on the Aesops and why they don't work, but that also needs to feed like his own understanding of his team and how that's kind of fallen apart. And so like having himself see his own like turmoil at the end is kind of like the key part to kind of resolve all that argument in chapter 4 as well.
I loved how the fans nicknamed this the vibe check, and ever since then, that's what I call it in my head.
I hadn't heard that. That's amazing.
I love that.
I think he's a good
calls
character.
everyone out. Like suddenly, Ren turns into everyone's therapist. I love this turn for him.
He's a good character for this too, because he's not a blabbermouth. He's not gonna just immediately throw you on blast.
Yeah, I like that he kind of like looks past Yang, like he's just like scanning over the room, and he's like, I don't really need to know what Yang's feeling right now, because this
I
scene
feel
was
like
about
Yang's
him,
pretty
like,
upfront.
Yeah.
Well, it just wasn't. The point of that bit was that the Aesops are dysfunctional, and it was just distracting to see Yang's emotions
You're right. Yeah,
thrown in there too.
He knows how dysfunctional his friends are.
Each of Yang's petals would just be another Yang.
Yeah.
I outrank you. Great line. Great moment.
That's one of my favorite ones this season.
Adele Krauss animated that shot. She did a good job.
Where's going? Now kiss.
Just call them out. Just call every single one.
I have a job to do.
I was like, dude, please not in front of my boss. Come on, man.
Throw me a bone.
I know you don't either.
I get it.
Sorry, that was like the lowest fruit possible.
Here's another big orbit.
It was a big moment.
Also in winter.
Good job.
You're trying to get that gum sponsorship.
Yeah.
This is not a situation where
She's right though. It sucks. I love this whole conflict between the three girls and me.
The girl.
I can't remember at one point in the script or while we were working on the script in directorial, was part of this scene at one point like in the other room? I'm trying to remember.
Yeah, it originally started up in the room still, and and
I think you broke it up so it was a little bit. It started out down here a little bit more.
Yeah. And here we have Klein's return, which is
I love
really
this
great.
part.
Payoff on the doc name.
Yeah. Like I mean, he's super dad basically.
He's 7 dads all in one, and you can see that too when he's like, everything.
I like he's like walking around. He's like looking at the condition of the place, like Yeah, no, keep up with this. He's also we tried to give him like a little bit of. He's not entirely unaffectionate towards Whitley here, like even though he's gonna like give him a bit of a hard time, but he kind of like pats him on the shoulder as he goes by. We want to make clear he still has some sort of
I gotta imagine when you change somebody's diapers that you can't get too mad at them. That's a bond.
Yeah.
And Whitley's the one who called him. I think there's definitely some pride there.
Yeah, for sure.
He's probably always wanted Whitley to step up like that a little bit.
Weiss, the hugger, my favorite Weiss.
See, look, yes, she pointed a weapon at his face, but yes, she also hugged him. So we're even.
I want to take the opportunity to clarify something here that I don't think came across in the show, but Penny shows up here, and the idea was not just that she happened to crash land here. The idea was she's sort of been like fighting her programming, her like hacking since chapter 5, and so she's been trying to come here, but then the bad side will take over and she'll have to like fly back, and she's crashing into things. And
it's not an easy thing to convey, but
Yeah,
it's
She's
a cool
like, check
shot.
my GPS. Ooh,
We're back.
it's the
with-
spooky episode.
It's so scary. The prison system.
It's so corrupt. I could think of nothing more terrifying than privatized prison. Hey, welcome to chapter.
Hey everybody, got me still. I just won't go away. We also got Miles back again, the writer for this episode, and Dustin who directed it, and that hole in the wall there now.
I don't know if I'm going to be on the episode later where we come back to the scene with Crow and Robin and all that, but there was a cut joke about how Robin thought she was concussed because she thought she saw a crow flying around in his cage, and Crow was like, yeah, totally, sure.
Yeah, that was one of those that we had kind of like lose for time's sake, and it was like we don't need it, but it was very funny. So I'm glad it's living on here.
Oh man, I'm so happy with how this episode turned out.
Yeah, this is one where it is definitely we're talking about this a little beforehand, but having a bit of a limitation or a challenge, I guess rather, is I think led to something really cool where while we were outlining the season, we kind of realized like this is a lot. This is gonna be a really big season, and one way talking with production that they mentioned we could help is can we have maybe like a ship in a bottle episode, and we guys said, well, as long as we can have a book ending scene, we should be okay. So we had this idea of like, okay, let's have one episode at least in the manor, and then I think talking more about it was like, okay, it's a horror episode. Okay, we'll give that to Miles, and then we'll give that to Dustin. Cool.
Yeah, it was fun. I was playing, I think, a fair amount of Resident Evil at the time, and it probably shows.
I like whenever I figured out that I was gonna do this, or I guess when y'all were still working on the scripts and stuff, like this wasn't always gonna be a horror episode like this, was it? Or
I mean, at the very beginning, it's not like we like set out knowing that there was going to be a horror episode this season. It was more just like as we started to understand the limitations and the constraints that we were going to have to work under, it was one of those deals where it's just like, okay, well, if we need to have an episode entirely in one location, how can we turn that limitation into something unique, like make it more novel? And that was where the idea of, oh, well, you know what, like trapped in a big house with our brand new scary Hound Grim, that sounds pretty cool.
Yeah, trapped in a house sounds a lot better than they just happen to be hanging out in the house the whole episode.
Volume 5.
Yeah, exactly.
If only the house they had been staying in Haven had been haunted.
I mean, it probably is now.
I think
that's true.
Whenever I did get the script for it or whatever, then I started just watching like a ton of horror movies, and I think I probably drove my wife crazy because it was like for like months straight, that's like all I was doing. I had looked up like all these lists of like best horror movies, watch this, and I just like all that was on all the time, and every time she would like come in the room or something, I was just watching something by myself, she'd be like, oh my god, what are you watching? I was like, it's research.
I'm glad you did this. I'm a scaredy cat, I can't do that.
This was a fun episode of a lot of like setup and payoff too. Like we get a payoff for the security system in the Schnee Manor that we established in the previous volume. We get like the setup of the power going out needs to be turned back on. We have Penny's green like artificial blood that comes back later, and like it was just kind of, it's fun kind of setting up all these little rules and dominoes and then getting to push them all over and have them all come around by the time this chapter's over.
I just thought about how messed up that would be if that was just all actual blood.
Yeah, I mean, it's very dark. I love that shot, by the way. I love this super wide. It helps like really, the stakes are so huge. Everything going on around them is massive, and it just makes them feel small and alone.
Yeah, I love that. I also love, I couldn't go on enough about it when we were working on it, but like the way that the sky turned out there, like by the like that red in the sky, like I just think it looks so cool.
Yeah, we had this kind of like constant storm going from Mantra the whole time, and it was like for this episode, like how about we push it even more?
This is really nice too, getting a moment between Rwby and Blake. That's definitely, I think, one of the more like justified pieces of criticism over the years is, these two we don't get a lot of screen time with them all the time, and actually having, because normally like a million things are happening all the time, and there's 1,000 characters, but this was like, hey, we have them here in this location. It's going to be a bit more of an intimate episode. Like, let's use this nice moment, and then we can absolutely do some emotional whiplash here and go straight from heartfelt hugs to dear God horror. And that's always fun. This was
This scene and then Whitley's scene in a little bit definitely took some inspiration from the first Jurassic Park film.
Oh yeah.
Which really, for most of it, is actually a horror film.
Hell yeah, man!
I think Miles and I had talked about this, but I think we talked about this, but when I was a kid, when I saw Jurassic Park or whatever, it was like one of the first movies I saw in the theaters. I had like dreams that those raptors would like chase me in my dreams from that scene specifically when they're like hiding in the kitchen and stuff. And so yeah, definitely that was like a big inspiration for how we set this up.
Is that why you told me you cried every day after watching this episode? Because it's bringing back all those memories.
This was also the episode where we get a lot of Schnee family redemption, and it was an absolute joy getting to have Whitley starting to work on the side of good, but still being a little turd about it sometimes.
Well, yeah, it's not a light switch.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
a dimmer.
Got Rwby prepping to use those silver eyes. Come on, girl, concentrate harder.
Yeah, all these sound effects. We've talked about this, but like the teams did such an awesome job of figuring out how to, have this system that would work in every shot, but then also have these like, one-off things where it's growing and the wings are sprouting. Like they did such a great job getting that to work and feel icky.
Yeah, everyone should go back a few shots, by the way, and just watch those wings emerge. The liquid sims on that shot are so cool.
Yeah, every time the goo just like spurts out like that, I love it.
Speaking of liquid sims,
you don't need it, Willow.
And now we get some Terminator vibes coming from Penny.
Yeah,
everything's bad in this episode. I love it.
I feel like you need those every once in a while, though.
Yeah.
I love how she just like throws them aside like nothing. Like in that space, in 3D space, like that's quite a ways that she just like tosses them down those stairs.
There's definitely a little bit of a cheat there, and it's
Love that shot.
That's a rip off from Game of Thrones. I'll admit.
Oh, this one too, yeah. Hound doesn't know. All Hound knows is smell in green.
Oh, this upcoming Grim, the Centaur, fun fact, was supposed to show up in Volume 7 in I think Chapter 3, the mine episode. There was this whole to kind of drive home the speed semblance discussion. It was this whole thing of Sentinels, when they show up, if they kind of get aggroed for a long period of time, they can, like, for lack of a better term, like Pokemon evolve and transform if you don't take them out fast enough. But for a number of reasons,
we ended up going with Centaur.
Centaur. But yeah, getting to see the Centaur this season was awesome. This horrible, like, necromorph, acid-spewing monstrosity.
Yeah. It was one of the things where, we kind of, we just wanted to make sure that we could do Chapter 3, of last year, right, so we didn't want to take the time to do it then. But I also think it kind of ended up being a cooler thing, because you had some more time between the introduction. So evolving things is always fun.
Also, shout out to Nora Valkyrie, absolute champ.
Yeah, we were talking about this earlier, but I'm so glad we did the scars.
Oh yeah, this was like a whole thing, right? I was like working on. Oh, I love this that scene, that shot. Sorry. Anyway, I was gonna say, whenever Willow goes to the room, and it's like, the amount of times in the episode that we see whether or not she's gonna like go for the booze or whatever, and it's like when she decides to like help the kids. It's like a whole thing that Carrie and I had worked on, kind of playing it out. When she does or doesn't grab the bottle was like a whole thing.
I love that repeated shot you did there too, where the Hound coming in versus Weiss coming in. I thought it was cool. Not the piano.
Also, I love the articulation on the Hound's like neck spines. Like, it's such a subtle thing, but it adds a ton. Also, hell yes, get that xenomorph action in there.
Yeah, the other cool thing about that too is like whenever the Hound like roars, the jaws kind of like slack jaw a little bit. I really love that too. Kind of adds to that whole thing.
I can see it. It's outside Winter's old room.
I loved the concept of, because like I don't think, obviously everyone in this world is familiar with Grimm, but as far as how familiar you are with like Grimm behavior, kind of here or there depending on who you are, but I do just love this idea of like just seeing this thing kind of walking in circles and not being 100% aggro all the time. Like, I don't know, to me that was just really unsettling. And wash your shirt, Whitley.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we weren't, it wasn't at the moment, but like, you know, also kind of trying to show that this thing is smarter because it's not just a Grim,
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
and having that ability for it to not be as, yeah, like you're saying, like aggro zombie, just go 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 kind of mode.
Love the little jingling chess pieces.
Oh yeah, we had to get the chess, like the set specifically ripped for that. That was like an idea that Joel had, and then yeah, it just we were like, can we get controls on this?
Yeah, it's always this like weird balance where, especially, you know, the way our pipeline continues to develop, like just because we have an asset doesn't mean it's always like 100% just ready to go. So even when we have an asset, we always have to kind of like play this game of like, can we get it in? But we're able to.
Love this little comedy beat, but also just the fake out of like, oh, Weiss has come to save. Oh no, it's Mama Schnee. Heck yeah. Great POV shot. Oh man. Down, boy. Yeah, I said it. That's what she should have said. She's like, yeah, I guess I could call back to this conversation we had that's more meaningful, but like deep down, I like to think Weiss wanted to drop that sick one-liner.
She's always, if there's one thing I know about Weiss, that she's always ready for a one-liner. God, I love and hate the way this Grim turned out. It's just so gross. There's something about just like having a fluid sack.
Yeah.
That I don't love. But again, in a good way.
Bonk. Oh, that's so sick.
Yeah, I love the clones.
Getting to play with those clones more in this fight is really, really fun.
And this is the end of Blake.
That's it.
And that's a wrap on Blake, everybody.
Stinks at it. She went out that way. Man.
Way to hold that pose, Rubes. Looking cool.
Oh, yeah. You're not going to have timing like that and not have a cool pose.
Ruby's like, down, boy. Blake's like, I don't get that. And Ruby's like, listen to the commentary track. You'll get it.
There's also a kind of subtle thing that we did throughout the episode, for super nerds out there, is, you know, if you look through the episode, the green on their clothes gets kind of dimmer as we go, just because we, you know, didn't want this like fluorescent green screen green like constantly going.
I think it's like a thing that was driving me crazy. I had to talk to Carrie a few times about it. I was like, is it working? Like, because you know, we didn't want it to be distracting, but then also like it was kind of different, so we had to make sure that it was actually getting like dimmer throughout the scenes. But then it's like the lighting in each scene is different, so it turns into like a whole thing. So they, you know, Complex like adjusting it for us like on a per scene,
and we appreciate it.
Yes.
And it's there, but not distracting. Why have 2 arms when you can have 3?
That's right.
That's enough.
Like sometimes you just need that 3rd arm. That probably hurt. I guess, you know, she's fine. I was so excited with how this all turned out. I love stuff like this, just that anticipation of like, why are we looking up there? No, don't tell me no.
Take.
Ooh.
Take.
Who's that?
The girl.
That's the guy inside the Mickey Mouse outfit.
Yeah.
He's mad. They ruined his scene.
Take the girl. Take the
Poor silver-eyed man.
Yeah, now we're just watching it. Sorry.
Yeah, sorry. There's a cool thing whenever whenever he's coming down the stairs, where like they like flick his body forward, and then like the head kind of like grows back, and I always thought that was a really nice touch.
It's funny when Miles, when I think the way that you wrote it and we're thinking about it was like a little bit different than like I think you basically, none of us, like, we never defined what those statues were made out of.
Oh, right.
And I think it was written as more like stone. But then we were like, oh, but we kind of want the armor pieces to fall. Would a giant suit of armor still kill? I think it would. Yeah.
Yeah, we had to make
that
sure
would be heavy enough still.
We had to make sure that the sword was sticking up so that it looked like it was believable that, well, maybe the sword like impelled him.
I think it did.
Yeah.
Meanwhile.
Yeah. And then we took the cork off the bottle for this, just one little bit here.
We actually, I think originally this scene was all one. The stuff at the beginning and this scene was one thing.
Yeah. This was the way it was written. It was all of this at the beginning, but Dustin, I think it was you had the kind of the thought to like let's bookend it instead, so that way we can kind of go out on this.
Down, boy.
Next look, I guess. Get out of here. We've got me. We've got Eddie, the writer for this episode. And we've got Paula, the director for this episode.
Hello.
Let's talk big battles. And the one here.
We put the
and
crowd
the
team to
end.
work.
Yeah. For real.
Getting right into it. I remember when I was outlining this, there was the question about whether or not we had time or the ability to show their entire kind of entrance onto Monstra, but what's nice about episode breaks is it lets us cut little bits of kind of connective tissue and jump ahead to the important stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and also we talked about this in the last one too, but Sean Cunningham is our lead for the crowds, and he's definitely come in with the mentality of, oh, you guys want 100 crowds? Are you sure you don't want 1,000?
Yeah.
I think I can make that work. And has really upped the game on that, so it's been awesome.
That's new.
This episode was probably my most anticipated episode, next to, like, I never count the finales, right? Just because they always have big events. But besides, like, the events of kind of chapter 13, 14, like, this was probably my most anticipated episode of the season to air.
Well, this is a huge one. This is where the kids finally meet Salem actually face to face, and they fight her, and it does not go well for them.
No. And it kind of needed poor Oscar. We need to have a spin-off series where he just
has
on a
happy things.
beach and eats like fruit.
He goes back to the farm.
Yeah.
And his crops are always coming in.
Yeah.
Everything goes so well for him.
Oh, it's a little fairy tale getting talked about here.
Interesting.
Yeah, interesting.
Paula, thank you for doing another good job of having a character talk to themselves and making it interesting.
Yeah, I purposefully tried to kind of keep coming back to the same shots over and over again, just to kind of have that trapped feeling of monotony when you're like stuck in a prison cell. But I do love this moment with Oscar and Ozpen, where Oscar or Ozpen admits, yeah, Oscar, you can handle things pretty well. I think, yeah, it was important to me to show that meant something to Oscar to hear that.
Mm. I think it was important to us as a whole too, that like Oz being back was not this just like magic ticket.
Yeah.
Listen up, everyone. We're keeping this LZ clear for the
I think an important part of the kind of tension of this episode, even when we were kind of going through the outline phase, was having this ticking clock happening kind of outside of Monstra at the same time as the danger that they're facing on the inside. I know some of these scenes got shuffled around a little bit, but I think that all the shuffling served to just kind of heighten that tension in a really good way.
I think wasn't there the intention to show more of like Team Funky. We ended up only getting the one scene, but
we definitely wanted to get more of them in there, and I'm sure everybody else did too. But yeah, we just kind of ran up against a little bit of runtime, and we also wanted to make sure that as cool as the fight, getting a little bit more action with Funky would be. I think the Salem fight was a little bit more of a priority.
Mm-hmm.
And focusing on the Aesop's for their kind of, their storyline for sure.
And I use the password myself.
I really like this parallel we have with Hazel and Marrow, who are two guys kind of questioning their loyalty and thinking what their next move should be. It was really interesting to me to see Hazel so like shrewd and calculating here, like how really should I do this?
Let's find
and then he tests Oscar to get him to prove the validity of this relic.
Yeah, I talked about this in one of the other episodes we did, but yeah, me and Kirsty kind of went off on our own and plotted out the progression of all this Hazel, Emerald, Oscar stuff. And it was nice to get the space in this episode for it to kind of all culminate in a way that didn't feel too rushed.
Actually, I think we always have to pick our battles with what scenes are going to breathe, and I think this was a good call.
What are you going to do?
It's good to see Jen after a while.
And that starts with getting you away from here.
Yeah, I made her very kind of smirking in this one. I like to think that she knows that Neo is there. She knows Neo's there the whole time. She's kind of taunting them with that line. Do you have any, so you don't have any questions for me? Like testing them like, I could tell you, you're not alone in this room.
Yeah. Anybody want to ask, is there just 3 people in the room? Because I got a good answer.
And then, she shifts her gaze over and we follow.
This was, and I mean this is obviously the best way possible, like one of the worst assets to review. Just because it is just like meet Neo.
a goop girl.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was a little weird.
I was such a fan of being able to include this scene, right? Like that's the thing is if you can get like your outline in place, you can find little spots to insert kind of moments that you didn't know you even had time for. And being able to get this kind of little bonding scene with Ren and Yang was really nice.
Especially after all the negative with him so far. Sorry, what was that, Paula?
No, I you definitely feel like their friendship is kind of going to a new level now.
Glad I'm not the only one who's scared.
Of course I'm scared.
Yeah, they can be honest with each other in a way they haven't been before.
Yeah, it's nice to see Ren kind of like turn this new, I'll say pedal.
Well, and I also just liked, right, like we kind of quietly had Jean stepping up to the plate and growing up a lot in this volume, and kind of at the end of the volume, he makes some really hard decisions. But, that line in chapter 4 where he's like, I've still got a job to do. And that's sort of the mentality that we took with Jean the entire way. And I just liked having another character be able to comment on it before he made, bigger decisions.
Well, and you also have this like, and obviously this is something that's going to happen like in every single moment, but you have Ren who's now able to kind of physically tangibly see that, and it's no longer just this like, oh, look how spirited he is. It's like, no, this is genuine. And I think that almost like, kind of helps build confidence for Ren and kind of have more faith in what's going on.
Watching reactions to this episode when people are watching Hazel act like that and they're like, come on, Hazel, like, where's your game face? It was so satisfying.
So that's a reference to the Yubaba glide from Spirited Away.
That's very good.
She can't really run in a skirt or in that dress, rather.
I know that there was a little bit of confusion when this episode did air about kind of like the nature of kind of like the alarms and the things like that sounding. I mean, the alarm that was raised was because of the seer.
Yeah,
it was because of the seer there, and it covered kind of the alarm of Neo being able to take the lamp.
Yeah,
and that's
really, why we shuffled that around a little bit from the script. We put those scenes back to back so that it would be ambiguous. Well, what set off the alarm?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mara's little come on Juan.
Yeah, we actually went back and forth a lot of like whether or not we should put that in or not. I'm glad we did personally.
I think in one take he read "Come on, Jim."
Yeah.
That one was kind of confusing to me because I was like, is he talking to Ironwood?
Yeah.
Because his name is James and sometimes they call him Jim. Yeah.
Yeah, it's at least to me, like it felt even more personal and real to call him Juan than it did to Jean. Like it had this familiarity to it.
It was just a very stupid cut.
Yeah.
Inside joke.
I mean, and what is this show but stupid stupid jokes?
This is it, everyone. We're gonna
That's my job.
to that monster. We get the payload aboard, Set the timer.
And now we set up the payload that's going to be very important in later episodes.
Gave them their window.
Chekhov's nuke.
Exactly.
Sister inside? Are you gonna tell her what you did to her friends?
Yeah, I kind of set this up like at first, Winter's acting like Ironwood. She turns her back to him. She's like being very cold. But then she makes the choice to turn around and be human towards him. And that's what delays Marrow's changing his mind a few more episodes.
Yeah, and I think it's just this nice thing too to kind of have, you know, Winter getting it from two sides, you know, between Marrow and Harriet, and really being kind of forced to choose.
I just want to say how excellently directed this whole sequence is, Paula, because when I wrote the script, I wanted it to be this kind of like death march with little bits of humor, because it was going to get serious at the end, but like,
yeah.
And then it's just like all of a sudden this character comes in, and then it's just like everything hits the fan and goes really bad really fast.
Yeah, I'm really happy with how this turned out. I think we talked about it a bit, Carrie. Like it struck me as very interesting that Emerald's semblance kind of worked on Salem.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And that's why she has to like go so hard for Emerald right now, because she's just really pissed off that this little nobody girl got the drop on her.
Yeah, I mean, we kind of talked to this a little bit earlier too, but it's like we there's so much of this series, you know, that has been this like Salem's the big bad, and this, especially having her interact with our characters now was. I think just a prime opportunity to be like, no, for real.
Yeah.
Like, what part of what she does is not show off, and like that is a part of kind of like her as a person and her strategy, and then that also means that when she does, it's that much worse.
And it's nice to set up kind of power scaling and stuff too when you get a chance to, right? Just so people watching can, you know, kind of get a feel for that. There's one moment that I missed from the script that I love the way it turned out, but there was this one little moment, and I understood why it's gone, was Yang hits Salem back with her semblance activated. It does nothing.
Yeah.
And who is it I've taken from you, girl?
We'll get in the next fight.
I like this. Like, despite seeing that there is like no damage they can do to Salem's body that she can't take, I love that Yang still had her defiant moment.
Yes.
It felt it felt a lot like a counterpart to Ruby's getting defiant in Ironwood's office last season.
Which, yeah, I mean, I was about to say, yeah, you directed that as well, and it definitely felt reminiscent of in a good way, and I could tell you were. I think that one shot is definitely, you know, intentionally very similar of when she's kind of like leaning down and talking down to her.
Yeah.
Also love these moments, quiet moments of Hazel looking at each of them and kind of taking in the scene before making his decision.
No more Gretchens, boy.
Yeah. He's gotta do it for the kids.
Sometimes you just gotta, you know.
I live for this shot.
Yeah.
Right here, and Emerald right there.
What are you doing, dude? Don't do it.
And we just showed that, you know, all the kids attacked her and nothing happened, but you know he's still gonna go in and still try.
Yeah. So we had this idea that so Hazel's semblance is that he doesn't feel pain, so he can just put the dust crystals directly in him. So we were thinking, what if he just overdosed? He knows he's not gonna win this fight, but he just went like took on as much as he possibly could, and then just so he could buy some time.
Yeah.
I will say about that one shot, like when I referenced that shot, I was referencing that Henry Cavill moment in that Mission Impossible movie with the fight in the bathroom.
Where he, like,
Everyone
cocks
knew
his
what I was
fists.
talking about.
Yeah.
Yes. I like tried to reference it to Rachel when she was storyboarding. She was like, "Oh, like that one in Mission Impossible." I was like, "Yes." And when I talked to Randy about it, anyway, she was like, "Oh, like Henry Cavill," and I was like, it was hilarious to me.
Yeah, I'm really glad we sprung for the like extra goriness on Salem in this.
Oh yeah,
we definitely had to like, figure out how far we could play it. But I mean, it kind of there's a part of Salem that kind of falls into why I think we feel comfortable like beheading Grimm and stuff like that too, is because they're for the Grimm at least, it's because they're these like non-sentient just creatures. And Salem kind of is like half in that category, but because she's so powerful, I feel like we could get away with a little bit more gore to kind of like again just help set the tone for what fighting with her is going to be like.
And we also mentioned that she let him kill her over and over again.
Yeah,
so if
he's
there's
killed her
anyone
before.
who knows how to stop her, it's him.
Oh man, it's so good. It's so rough to watch, but it's so good.
It's pretty brutal.
Yeah.
But it's Hansel and Gretel callback here.
Yeah. Hazel, I'll always love you.
Bye, Daddy.
Like I said, it's the dream team. We got Miles and Kiersey, who wrote on this episode. And we got Connor, who directed it.
Surprise.
And then we got a sad, contemplative Ironwood.
Yeah, this shot is like somewhere between. It's like The Shining meets Apocalypse Now. Like Jack Nicholson just staring at the window.
Like, why have a giant window if you're not going to stare at it out of it sometimes?
That's right.
There's like little things I put in the script that I love that you put into the final version here.
Yeah.
I think this tiny little bit was Miles, and then Ironwood here like looking out the window and holding his arms and stuff like that. I love that ended up in the final product.
Yeah. This beginning was interesting because I think originally...
Was it originally intercut like that?
No, there was like a whole other scene where Crow and Robin, we like are with them as they escape and kind of see them deciding to go to Ironwood's office. And
That's
Richard
right.
Norman, our editor for this episode, pitched kind of intercutting it like that. And we kind of liked it. We liked that it kind of left Crow and Robin's whereabouts mysterious.
Yeah.
And they're just kind of like, ghosts in the Atlas Academy for a while.
Connor, I've been trying to listen to you this whole time, but this whole sequence is just beautiful.
Yeah, the effects in the explosion sequence like blew me away.
The musical choice also, like the music for that shot, really great.
Yeah, Alex Abraham did this cue. He did a great job. But yeah, we wanted to kind of like be a little bit counterintuitive with the music and play something really pretty.
Who's that silhouette?
You'll never know.
I feel like I will.
No injuries here.
I was really excited about when I first found out that I was going to be able to direct this episode, just because the visuals, the potential for like interesting visuals was so strong. And this was like very clearly written into the script that like there would be this dramatic lighting change for this episode, and everything would kind of be bathed in the fog being permeated by sunset. Yeah.
Target destroyed.
I love that part too. It's how strategically, I know that it's a lot of work to figure out like when the sun's gonna set and when the sun's gonna come up to get the exact kind of effect on the scene that we want, which Carrie, you've mentioned earlier. The tight timeline of this season made that really, really interesting.
Oh yeah, we've got a whole spreadsheet.
Yep.
That was tough, especially with 4 directors working on this season too. Everybody had different ideas, but it felt right for it to come up this episode because this is kind of like the tide is turning. It seems like they've gone through the worst part. This scene, oh my gosh,
a favorite of mine.
It's very good.
In the interim, we need a plan.
Yeah, I was a big fan of this the scene on the script, and it was really fun to work on. Just great to have Cinder kind of getting her, comeuppance.
Yeah.
This was such a good one, Miles, when you wrote this scene and like turned it into us. I think we were all just like, all right, great, that's perfect. That's a wrap.
What?
She really needed this.
Yeah.
Just like beat our drum another time of this is Cinder's volume, which means she's also gonna get told off.
Yeah, it's got to go both ways.
That's one of the things I really enjoy about Watts is like, yeah, he had his cool fight with Ironwood, but like he's not necessarily like known for his physical strength or anything. His strengths are his mind and his mouth.
He gets in your head.
This was a moment where it was like, all right, well, if he thinks he's about to die, he's gonna go all out.
He's got nothing to lose.
It's not that he's like trying to talk his way out of it. He's just in this moment literally has nothing to lose and he's gonna speak his mind. And he makes some real points, And this is a good scene for Cinder because she learns that maybe she needs to use some other tools herself.
Yeah, Jessica Negri and Chris Abbott did such an amazing job with this too.
Such a good job. He definitely lights up every single scene that he's in.
Mm-hmm. I was just really happy that I feel like we got a lot of new and like unique scenes with Cinder this volume. That kind of took different turns, and I think people maybe originally expected when they started watching a scene.
Yeah, well, I feel like a lot of the things that a lot of the tropes that Cinder is, this is the volume where those all started to kind of take a 90-degree turn or flip the script a little bit on her.
I actually measured it once. It was 91 degrees.
I love those cutaways here too. Really, really well done.
Yeah, those were actually another Richard pitch. I think he was. But it does amp the rhythm of this. This scene is all about like finding the rhythms that can just like build to this climax where you can believe that she's gonna drop him, or at least that it'll be ambiguous,
But suffering isn't enough. Can't just be strong, you have to be smart. Can't just be deserving, you have to be worthy.
I think the original version of this had a few more swears in it. I was like, hey guys, this is the first draft that like just felt like what he would say, but I do know that we can't.
We do that in voice acting a lot where people will start or end a line with a swear just because it helps them get into it, and then we just cut it out.
That's a great tactic.
It works super well.
It really does. Oh, did someone realize they kind of suck at being bad?
This scene was originally right after the earlier scene where the Aesop's recover from the explosion, I think, in the script.
Yeah, that's right. I think we used that silhouette of Neapolitan like skipping through the haze as sort of like a bridge transition to this scene, but like by intercutting that other scene here, like I think it just helps with the pace and like rhythm and flow of the episode.
Yeah.
We don't want to spend too much time in the dust.
When an episode gets bored and things get shuffled around and it's like, oh yeah, that's totally how it was supposed to be all along.
I mean, it's sometimes, you like, especially in the animatic phase, like sometimes you just kind of need to see it and hear it, and it can just help realize things that weren't there before, or, as you see it played out. It's easier to read things at a pace that you want versus how they actually play out, so it's fun to experiment and play and is relatively simple to do because, at that point it's moving things around Premiere.
Is part of the reason I have this.
This was such a tough scene to write because we just in this episode and the couple before it, there was so much heavy character lifting to do in very, very little time. And I really love how this came out, especially in conjunction with when they show up at the big the subway stop with all the displaced people. But we had to get to Ozpin here. We had to get to the weapon here. We had to get a vibe check.
Vibe check, yeah.
And then, we have to get Emerald's moment in here too, so that we can follow along with her and believe everything she's gonna do.
And it's a weird chemistry, right? Like we didn't want. Obviously, we're working towards Emerald kind of switching sides, but no one's supposed to be friends yet, and the reasonings are really good. So yeah, it's just it was really difficult,
You know, going through the script and being like, are they being too nice to her in this scene? Are they being not nice enough? Or like, it was a weird balance to kind of try and find with Emerald and the other kids.
I think y'all did a good job with it because, like, yeah, it's easy to get on board with somebody in, like, the heat of battle or, like, when Salem's, like, a threat, but the aftermath gets a lot more complicated. This is kind of where we see who's ready to open that door of forgiveness and who isn't just yet.
And it's nice that it's not all of them, like, right away.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. The lighting in the scene reminds me of, like, the apathy stuff from Volume 6, too. Flashlight.
This came out so cool. I know there's a lot to do here with so many people.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, God, I remember there at one, I don't even remember at this point, but like there was one version of the scripts where like I felt like the gang at the mansion was going through the subway tunnels to get to the kids out at the monstrous site, and it was like having to push through. Yeah, it was like having to push through crowds of people trying to evacuate, and then it was just like, we cannot do this. Like, we have to change things.
And we also don't need to do that, you know, like...
Yeah, it was one of those things where,
To have something that complicated and not have, like, a super good reason to do it, it's like, well...
Yeah.
Sounds like we need to rework this.
Well, and it was very, like, in story to have Weiss be like, here, this is how you get there. Great.
Right.
I already have the city plans because of all these other things that are going on at the house that you know nothing about.
Yeah.
But you still have it.
And then we were like, it's kind of the same thing we ran into in episode 6, and we were finally like, let's just have the Aesop stop and like pick them up. If we need to get these characters back together, just get them back together.
I feel like them walking in on Ironwood here is like the equivalent of walking in on like the detective with like the board with all the strings and everything.
that was basically what I told Rachel when we were boarding this scene.
Yeah.
Like that is the energy that I want to.
It's always Sunny guy, like.
Yeah. Pepe, Sylvia in HR. It was Carol in HR.
And she will throw everything she has at us until there is nothing.
It was like one part that and one part the like Full Metal Alchemist guy who makes the chimera. Do you see that?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
About? There's like a shot where you like walk in the door and his like glasses are reflecting and he looks.
Nina.
Great. Yeah.
Schnee, bring me Ark, Ren, and Shaolong.
Oop.
What for, sir?
Winter's in trouble.
Crow in my head.
This scene was
expression.
Yeah, the animators did a really good job in this scene. This scene feels very similar to chapter 11, the big scene from last season. But this scene was originally staged around his main desk. That he like smashes his main desk, and it's kind of it just worked better blocking wise to have him kind of like down in the middle of his pit doing this. But it's funny that for all the times that he slams his fist on that main desk, this is the one that gets broken in half.
Main desk was like, oh, that was close.
Yeah. He's never been this angry.
Rescue their friend, and they never came back.
I love the build up to just wondering, like, what is he gonna do to her? And almost like letting go of her is the worst, right?
Yeah.
Your dad being like,
you have the split second, like, okay, maybe.
Well, he's like letting go of her before he does something worse. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now I have
redirecting his attention.
Winter's like, that could have been me.
Yeah.
Sir, we are detecting non-military ships on radar. Dozens of them.
Can someone tell me what's under his band-aid? Does anyone know what's under his band-aid?
They appear to be Schnee Dust
It's
Company freighters,
brain.
heading straight for Mantle.
Yeah, another big reference for Ironwood too was I kept throwing out Michael Shannon in The Shape of Water. Just that kind of desperate, angry white dude.
I still need to see that movie.
I love Michael Shannon.
Watching control slip out of his hands.
Yeah.
It's like, how can I cling to the last little bit of leverage and power that I have?
I haven't seen that movie because I had one question about maybe something that might happen in that movie, and then it became a meme online, and I was like, well, I still need to watch it, but that burning question has now been answered.
It's a good one.
I love the sassy photos.
Yeah.
Did someone survive?
I remember we worked out for quite a while, like, how are we gonna get Neo to convey so many pieces of information, particularly like Jin's name. It's like, haha. Well, You know who would be really good at texting?
Yeah, we should do a Torchic too. She's got to find other ways.
This is such a sweet little scene.
Yeah.
Seeing everybody hug each other again.
I mean, much needed.
Vince Cavalluti animated this scene, and I kept like sending him the end of Return of the King when all the hobbits are like hugging and saying goodbye. I was just like, I just need this level of emotion.
I'm so excited. I was waiting for so long to get to write this moment. Chapter 10 with Blake and Yang getting back together and everyone coming home, and they've been apart for the whole season, only to be interrupted terribly.
Also, Connor, is that the scene where like they're all like jumping on the bed and like Gandalf's just like smiling? Okay, I know you're talking about that. Okay.
It's the Grey Havens. They're like,
okay.
Frodo's leaving.
I was thinking the other one now. Gandalf.
I love how she covers her ears.
She's
Poor
like, hey, I have
cat.
sensitive cat ears.
Yeah. Can y'all not?
This Ironwood shot that came up here, I had like found this image from like it was like a Predator promotional image where he's like overlit like that, and I gave that to the post department. It's like,
yes,
make it look like this.
This kingdom, its technology.
I love that transition.
I was just thinking, that's so cool.
Yeah, it's a cool balance of seeing him, in quote unquote like in person versus on the screen.
The protector of Mantle. Penny, wherever you
She's
and
the
your
only
friends are,
one who can't
I
hear
need
it.
you all to listen. I know how much Mantle means to you, so I'm going to give you a choice.
He's so terrifyingly icy.
The
Jason
blue
Rose did a
eyes
good job.
in contrast to everything else is so good here.
Yeah,
Just
it's like pretty
an artful-
desaturated. Yeah.
He's a handsome fella.
You can all watch as
How dare he?
Yeah, this kind of lighting can be difficult to do just because it's where like the light versus the shadows hit, like it can kind of betray that 2D aesthetic we go for. So we always have to be very careful, and we do some additional things where the compositors are able to like cut out different sections or add back in shadows that we want there all the time. But the end result turned out super good.
You have 1 hour to respond.
So good.
I hope you live
Or
up to
Penny.
the title I gave you.
All right, we've got the dream team here. Kiersey, Eddie, Miles all wrote parts of this episode, and Paula directed it. And I'm still here.
You're a prisoner.
Yep.
You're a prisoner to this volume.
Yeah.
Like all of these people trapped in this crater.
Let's keep making jokes over all of the sad, intense scenes.
I love those regulars. I'm just gonna say it again because I said it in a much earlier episode. I love the regulars, like the officers who show up every once in a while.
Who cares?
Every time I look at Winter, all I think of is Mass Effect, and I love
I see
it.
that, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, she does look a little N7.
Hell yeah.
I would accept Winter as a romance option in Mass Effect.
Who wouldn't?
Weiss and Whitley wouldn't.
That's fair.
Yeah, I guess we can talk about the scene a little bit.
I guess.
No.
I as a big Marrow fan, I love this scene so much. I love how y'all did this.
It was building up for such a good long time, and he was finally like, "Okay, man."
Well, we had several moments all throughout the season, right, where I love the Aesops all being so distinctive all the time, right? Like they just have such distinctive personalities, and we did several times where we got to check in with them and just very quickly get a pulse on where each of them are. And we do that again at the beginning of this scene.
With
and then Marrow
Harriet
just
saying, like, "I
blows
don't
a gasket.
care."
Yeah.
Yeah, and then by the end of the scene, I think we get varying degrees of they're not okay with this, but how much they're not okay with it is yeah. There's a range there.
Fine.
I love how long it took to Marrow's just like the sweetest boy. Like he really didn't anticipate that this was probably going to happen, and he's also
a good
doesn't
loyal
quite.
boy.
It takes him quite a while to realize, like, Winter totally saved your skin, bro.
Yeah. Would y'all say he's a good boy?
He's a good boy.
Oh yeah, he
Definitely
is.
a good boy.
Okay, Ironwood wants Penny. Otherwise, Mantle is done for.
So I tried a thing in this scene where I kind of showed each of the girls like they're regressing a little bit. So like Weiss is a little snarky, Yang is a little aggressive, Blake's a little closed off, and then we tried in this episode to show that Oscar is, because he used that like big burst of magic in the previous episode, and we did say that magic kind of melts him closer with Ozpen. So he's adapting a lot more of like Ozpen's mannerisms in this episode. We see him like walking with the cane more, kind of looking out the window like Ozpen used to.
I feel like, and this wasn't necessarily intentional, but I also feel like there's this amount of, I feel like he can kind of tell when they need that energy.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like they need a little bit of the headmaster energy to come through to kind of motivate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And to remain calm while everyone else is really like struggling and wrestling with themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Originally in that scene at the end, there was a button of comedy that got cut for time, and also because it didn't quite jive. But originally we were going to hang on that door for a little bit, and then Emerald was just going to go, "Nice mansion, by the way." And Weiss was just gonna tell, Weiss just told her to shut up, and that was the end of the scene.
I was gonna say her shut up is like one of my favorite deliveries of the entire season.
Yeah. I really wanted to keep that too, because I really wanted to have kind of a snark off between Emerald and Weiss.
Yeah, I mean, my hope was to just like continue to reinforce like these people aren't friends, but let's have fun with it. But yeah, you just gotta, something's just gotta go get the axe.
Man, also this scene, it was such a perfect marriage of the voice acting and the like detail animating of the expressions here. Like I remember seeing the storyboards for this originally and I just cried.
Yes. Oh, I'm so happy with how this whole scene turned out. Yeah, the voice acting, the animation, it all, like the camera work, it all really came together. The music too. Yeah, I was thrilled to get this episode because I love a love scene, and also I love sister drama, which is coming up too.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a lot of good emotional pack in this episode.
Yeah,
I love that
I cried a bunch when I watched the animatic for this the first time. Not just because like there's like these big heartfelt moments, but just because like sometimes like as a writer you look at something and you just get relieved that something like lands the way you wanted it to land. Like this episode brings together so many threads that are a couple. Some more with the Ozpen stuff, a couple volumes in the making.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that all landed and kind of hinged on this episode.
I mean, you could argue some of the Nora Wren stuff have been literally the entire time in the making.
Yeah.
This scene, I remember you guys were all off like writing the rest of this episode and had a whole bunch of work to do. Like Miles wrote a ton of stuff, and I spent like 2 weeks on one scene.
It's an important scene.
Well.
But we end up in such a good place with this relationship. Like, they grow so much, but they make the mature decision, which is we're not ready yet.
Well, we talked about that a lot just in the, I'm always bringing up the outline phase because that's where most of the writing like happens, where you're like hashing out,
It really is.
But I remember we just went back and forth early in the outline where it was like trying to thread the needle on this relationship was really difficult, right? Because you wanted everyone to be making their own decisions and be empowered and have their own, right? Like that their emotional hinges weren't on the other person, that they were happening independently.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Nora getting her own journey in 7 and 8 was so important to us from the beginning, and making her story about herself. And I think that's, like the scars come together with this scene in such a beautiful way too.
Yeah, it's just, with the number of characters we have and like the runtime of the show, like it's so hard to fall into that trap of, okay, Nora's doing something, so let's get Ren involved, or vice versa, and to have some time to. I think that in general, that was kind of like one of the reasons some of the pairings happened this volume.
Yeah.
So to, be able to explore that more and just get more individual moments has been great. And then, I think it also, the time apart made this scene even stronger.
Absolutely. He went off and developed his semblance.
Yeah.
Off on his own to come back and be like, oh, she loves me.
God, yeah, I remember, this episode, we went through a ton of drafts because it was also like way too long at first. We had to cut so much out of this. I'm remembering it as we're watching it. It still came together great. But this was one of those episodes where it was like everybody got a hand on the ball, not just from like creating, but also like what to pull back, what to tweak. Like, man, gosh, it's just weird watching this for the first time in such a long time.
I forget that this scene is in this episode every time.
I mean, that's just kind of what happens towards the end is like there's just so many things to, keep, so many storylines to keep moving forward that you have to pick your balance and maybe trim down a scene in one episode because that there's a scene in the next episode with these same characters that you can't trim.
Right.
But I think it always ends up with a happy balance.
Well, and I love that Crow and Robin get to have their like emotional, their storyline might have, not taken up as much screen time this season, but this is still like the emotional climax of their storyline of like.
Such a fan of this pairing too.
Yeah, I think their storyline is definitely one that probably got some of the biggest cuts, and the fact that it still like landed is still just like cool. Like it was really like we still got a satisfying amount of time with them, and the things that they did mattered.
Because you were the one who was fighting for what was right.
And I like Robin getting to be this like big older sister who's not gonna,
replacement Burb sister.
Yeah, Burb sister.
Well, I like to think that she's probably seen this before. People get disillusioned,
I think she's also seen it in herself.
Yeah. So she knew the trap, so she had to talk him out of it. Yeah.
Blake said you and the Shanice managed to take
Well, I mean, decisions like that haven't played too well for her in the past, so I think her dissuading him from making another one like that is a good call.
And it proves she's the good guy.
Yes. Absolutely. You know what
that means? Ruby's sitting on the banister like I used to when my parents said we couldn't go get ice cream. I would do the exact same thing.
This whole scene reminded me a lot of end of volume 3 when Yang she lost her arm. And when Rwby went to go talk to her in the bedroom, and Yang was just kind of like wallowing in despair. I feel like we're kind of seeing the reverse of that. Yeah, but whereas Rwby was all like sweetness and wanting to run up and like cuddle and hug, but Yang was pushing her away. Yang is kind of struggling. She tries a joke first and then she like comes close, but Rwby pushes away, so she gets frustrated. Yeah, it's interesting to see their dynamic and how they react to trying to relate to each other.
And you can see how much, I mean, even though Yang's like character growth kind of was a supporting star in this volume to like Ren, she's learned and changed so much just over the course of this volume when it comes to how to interact with someone who's having a hard time and how to be there for them.
Yeah, I think,
was.
And in case you didn't notice,
go for it.
Oh, I was gonna say, I think she feels really kind of guilty about how she spoke to Rwby in the first episode, and she knows she has to patch things up here.
Big sister.
Yeah, that's. I was gonna mention how it's nice to see them both having their positions at the start of the season, like not reversed, but like they've come more towards the middle because they've each seen their own successes and failures since then, which kind of helps them tie together to kind of launch into the last kind of crazy risk.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if they were presented with the same situation now. I don't know that it's exactly that they would just like do the opposite or be exactly on the same page, but I definitely think that they're more understanding.
Yeah, and like a lot of times, like really compelling story drama comes from characters in completely opposite camps and are like one extreme or the other, and like the boring, more realistic option is, hey, we all need to kind of be in the middle. Like it's a little bit of everything. It's a bit of moderation, and it was nice kind of having that moment.
Yeah.
This was also a really fun moment, just in like, again, like taking small steps to show people coming together. Like, wanted to try and add a lot of like visuals here. The main one being when Emerald's chain size finally get involved and decide to help.
I do too. I'm so happy Emerald's part of the team.
I love the way that she's part of the team too, where she's like gonna just give up. She's gonna give out orders and like call people out.
No one's happy about her being here, but they're gonna roll with it, okay? Because they have to.
Yeah, she's not happy either, but.
Yeah, this is another nice moment. Just I remember the first time I read the draft of this, just everybody has their own little beats, right? That's reminding of the little stair steps that they did during the season, which is exactly what you want.
Yeah,
in a moment like this.
I think Nora, kind of having this beat with Penny too is great.
Yeah.
In my secret headcanon, I like to think that had Penny, spoiler alert, not died at the end of the season, her and Nora would have been like really good friends.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think they are. Yeah, for sure.
And I wanted to make this like a really shining, like beautiful moment for Penny, because it's the moment Penny kind of got everything she wanted. She wanted friends. She wanted to be surrounded by people who cared about her and loved her for who she was. Give her this really nice moment before,
It feels like one of
the bad things.
Having everybody together, and it definitely feels like one of the more hopeful moments of the season.
I think you're
And to what you were saying earlier, look at the way that Oscar is standing. I love that.
He doesn't get down on the level with the kids. Yeah.
No.
I mean, yeah, you guys have been getting your ass.
I love her
Villains get
little
to swear.
monologue.
Villains get to swear.
That's how you know they're bad.
They have potty mouths.
They potty mouth.
The moment I switch sides.
I love Emerald getting caught in this.
Yeah, I wanted to give Yang the moment to kind of initiate Emerald into the group by just giving her a hard time and teasing her about being sincere.
If you all wouldn't mind, I really think Ozpen would like to say something.
Speaking of multi-volume long setups, here's another one. It's like Oz finally talking to the kids again.
Oh, weird. He's talking about that fairy tale again, huh?
Huh, that's weird. Interesting.
A young girl flees the consequences of a choice to a magical place.
Yeah, I did a lot of framing with Emerald and Oscar together, or Ozpen rather, because they're both kind of seeking apologies in this scene. So just to kind of put them on the same side.
They're not quite the insiders. Like they're not quite part of the group yet. They're like fringe members.
They're also both green.
Whoa! Dun, dun, dun.
Eagle-eyed
Emerald
viewers
City.
might catch that they're green.
I love that friendship pair name, Emerald City. It's
Yeah,
my favorite.
I love it too.
That's very good.
I also just I like the two of I like their chemistry.
Yeah.
Just like a little bit of raising the eyebrow. Like you're weird, I'm weird. We probably don't belong here.
Also, heck yeah, Wizard of Oz Redemption. Let's go.
Yeah. Penny has indigestion.
I was about to make a Tums joke right there.
Ate some spicy sausage.
She has to go to the vault.
I love this moment from Rwby.
Same. Yeah. We'll get this in 12 too, but I love this heist setup. Like maybe things are gonna go a little bit different than we originally thought. This did spawn one of my favorite memes. And I guess not this scene, it's the later one with Ironwood talking to himself.
Yeah.
Uh-oh, the tables have turned.
What Cinder got planned?
Hey, and we're back. We got Eddie, the writer for this episode, Dustin, the director for this episode, and I'm just still here.
Yep, trucking.
Hi, everyone.
Hi again.
This was probably one of the more difficult episodes to outline and write for the entire volume, just because so much stuff had to happen. and was happening at all different times. I remember when we were outlining it, it was very hard to wrap our heads around it before jumping in.
I think this is definitely just one of the most difficult episodes.
Yeah. From a director standpoint too, it was definitely hard to like at one point I think I was trying to make like a timeline of like, okay, wait, so when is this happening? And then okay, because we were like moving scenes around and stuff, so I was trying to make sure I wasn't like breaking some sort of timeline or something. Yeah, it was definitely like probably the most challenging episode that I directed this season for sure.
I mean it was kind of this balance, and Eddie, I remember like we went back and forth in the outlining phase, and I think even a little bit in the writing phase. And then Dustin, when we got into animatics, it was, we have all this information, we know when it's all happening in relation to each other, but what is going to be the best way to present this to the audience?
Well, because
what is going to be not confusing but also interesting, and not just this, then this, then this, then this,
Totally.
Yeah, and well, we wanted it to be exciting, and we wanted it to feel like a victory. And like I remember when we were outlining it, I always kept talking about it as like it's the moment in the heist where, right, like everyone succeeds, and you kind of see everything firing on all cylinders. But it also had to feel very ominous heading into that moment, kind of in these first few scenes.
Yeah, I mean, the way that this volume kind of goes and the tone that it is, that I think there's a lot about this episode that is, and especially where we kind of go with the rest of the season, like this is probably the high point for our heroes for the whole season, and I think we also knew that the audience was probably going to be hesitant to like accept that too, because I think they're going to be like, okay, well, what's going to happen next? And obviously stuff does happen, but we really wanted everybody, our heroes, the audience, to be like, cool, this was a win. And, that right there.
I love that moment. Yeah.
This
it's gonna be hard.
Whole logistics thing.
Not to just watch this fight and talk over it. I mean, I really wanted, when we kind of went here and wanted, this little showdown, we just felt it was really important for like this team to have a victory after kind of getting dunked on by Neo in Volume 7.
Miro.
Yeah, there goes our good boy.
I know, right? I like this song too.
Yeah.
It was a good kind of full circle thing.
This is one of those examples too, we talk about this a lot, that we don't write out. Oh, I gotta stop and watch this. Yeah. Well, we don't write out a lot of like blocking for fight scenes.
We didn't want to.
Every now and then there is a little bit, but this was one where it was mostly about like feeling, right? Like Oscar has a moment, like Winter has a moment where Ironwood, right? There was little beats of like more what it should feel like, and I love the choreography.
To go to the vault.
Yeah, y'all did a great job with that.
Yeah, you really did.
We haven't considered.
We've been so
and now we're back.
The vault closed that we never considered using what's inside.
The Staff of Creation.
Maybe we could use it to save Penny and get everyone in Atlas and Mantle back to safety.
I remember we
Well.
I feel like I might be misremembering, but I feel like this kind of moment here was one of the big things of like, where should this go?
Yeah, this moved around a little bit, I feel like.
Yeah.
I think we even in edit had it in like, I don't know, at least 3 places at one time.
And I think for me it's one of those things where there's a lot of things in art that don't have like a right or wrong answer. I'm definitely happy with where we put it. But it was just this thing of like, what,
we're going to need help.
Is it going to take away from everything else if we see this first? And I think that's kind of ultimately what we decided, was like we wanted to get the reveal a little bit, more organically, like through the fight than seeing that ahead of time.
Yeah.
I think that part too is like, we see some of that stuff play out in the previous, like the first part of, some of that stuff. So just making sure that Paula, who directed the previous episode, that me and her were like talking, so that we made sure our stuff was going to match up. Like, we see them at the elevator in the past, and we also see them out in front of the manor. So it's like, we had to make sure that we were like, in sync on that stuff.
This scene, I remember being pretty tough, because it's like you have to lay out what the stakes are. You have to set up some of the rules for the staff. You have to indicate Ambrosius. You have to kind of lay the seeds for some of their plan, because their plan's bonkers. So you have to like lay the seeds for their plan. while also restating some of the stuff that we've already stated, but trying to do it more concisely.
But we also don't want to say the plan out loud at this moment because we want people to see the plan happen.
And you also have to see the reasons why they didn't do other things.
Right.
You know? Right. Like what exactly their problems were. And it was a tricky needle to thread for sure.
Yeah, I think, you know, we're always trying to do our best with show over tell, and I think this is one where it's like we have to tell a little bit.
Yes.
But then we're gonna show the important parts and try and show it in an interesting way.
I blasted a hole through the bottom of Atlas and
you mentioned a character earlier, Ambrosius. I haven't heard of Ambrosius. Who's that?
Yeah, I guess we're about to meet that boy.
Do you mean Merlin Daddy?
Mm-hmm. Merlin Daddy. Merlin Daddy, as he was known to us in the writer's room, and I think even the first draft of the script, because I think it wasn't until the second draft that I gave him a name, because I don't like to stop and try to think of names for things when I'm like in the mode, you know, and so I think he was still just MD for Merlin Daddy.
For clarity's sake, he's not like directly based off of Merlin. He's just smart. And look at him.
Although at one point we did talk about him being like bearded and burly.
Yeah. Yeah. Let me put it this way. I'm not going to confirm nor deny that he's based off Merlin. I just don't want people to get that from our joke name for him. But you know, we had Jin and now we've got Ambrosius. That was something that, you know, I think, you know, it wasn't something that we had 100% settled on the beginning. It was like whether or not every relic was going to have kind of personality. It was something that we talked about a little bit, and I'm very glad that we did it.
Yeah, well, and then also trying to like really iron out the rules of this one. I remember we were trying to do that early in the outlining process, even though we didn't exactly know how we were going to use the staff by the end of the volume, which made things kind of tricky, you know, once we kind of got here. And it's like, all right, well, we put all of our characters in this impossible problem. So now how do they get out?
Well, and it's mostly like, you know, it's always the specifics, right? It's like we knew the whole time that like, okay, this is what this staff does, but what are the specific rules? And yeah, making sure that wasn't going to break anything was a big deal. Dustin, do you want to talk? I really like the way the look for this whole environment turned out.
Yeah, I think it turned out really great. I think, you know, we wanted to kind of do something similar to the last relic chamber that we were in. But also we spend so much more time in here, so we had to like kind of find this balance between like how much of that like you know, kind of special distortion look is going on in there and stuff, and that so it wouldn't like interfere with the performance, because you know we're in here for you know almost half the episode or something.
Yeah, we pushed it a lot further in volume 5 just because it was, you know, 3 shots of Yang, but having an entire couple scenes of everybody looking like they're, you know, heat wave distorting, I think would have been a little distracting. So we decided to kind of tone it down a little bit.
Oh, we have Ambro there doing some tutting, I think is what it's called. Rachel Dodo, our storyboard artist, so it was her. Like, we needed him like doing magic stuff, and she had pitched like doing that, so she had like sent me these videos. It's like this dancing stuff. So that's kind of what that's cool. Based off of.
That's great.
I don't know.
We just had this idea for him that he was like just really into like making things, and like he was just kind of a nerd.
Yeah, and that you could lawyer him, you know, was kind of the thing. Like if you could hit him with some creativity, he would really appreciate that. And it's a little bit of a cheat, you know, obviously, like they're right, like they're cheating a little bit. But I remember we felt like it worked because Rwby had cheated once before, and knew that about these kind of spirits or whatever you want to call them.
I feel
she
like,
could
you know,
get away with it again. You know?
But I think that's something we want to do because they were sentient and because they were, you know, from like the god of light and
yes,
and it, in essence, even though they're supposed to be impartial, like they do want humanity to succeed. You know, this idea that as long as you follow the intent of the law, even if it's not the letter, you can get what you're looking for. You know,
man, I remember being super nervous about. Well, just this scene one, it had to do a lot of stuff to establish this kind of ship of Theseus penny issue. It had to do a whole lot of heavy lifting there and get through a lot of like lot of stuff, and I remember being terrified that people weren't going to get it. But I feel like enough people got it, right? You're never going to be at 100% comprehension, and obviously we want to get that comprehension level as high as possible for things. But I was happy when the episode came out and people understood, right, that they had basically presented a Ship of Theseus type problem.
Yeah, it's always tough, but I do think that I think it did clear, and I think it was, as a person who didn't write or direct this, I think it was like a clever way to do it.
Wait, what happened? It's dead. The entire CCT. It just went down.
I really would have liked to know what would happen if Jean had been able to just had to keep vamping.
Yeah, I love that moment of like the "Hey, you're live, dummy."
Yeah.
Boy said Atlas is falling. Is that true?
Yes, we're using the staff to get.
Just shut up, Jacques. Just.
We'll all be long gone.
Are you going to leave me here?
Show the true colors.
No. When we're finished.
I love the way this moment turned out too. Of
Winter, thank you.
just being clear that like this isn't my doing. This is she's already kind of has her stance. Winter already has her stance, but she's still respecting what Weiss would want.
Well, I remember we even had that issue of like, well, then what are they doing with Weiss and I? Or like, I remember I actually found it on my computer the other day. We had like a whole map and like timeline of like everything that happens in 11, 12, 13, and 14 and where all the characters are, and like making it part of their plan, right? That like there was going to be a portal nearby that they were going to come back for them.
Yeah, like we definitely have all mapped up. And usually what ends up happening is we map it out during the outline phase, we write it, everybody forgets that map exists, and then the directors get to it and we remap it out, and we have to refigure it all out again. So you know what? Let's think up about that for next season. I'm just kidding.
Hey, I mean, I made that mini Bible for Volume 9.
You did, yeah. This is up there for favorite moments in all of the series.
The hugs to everyone.
Yeah.
And start the evacuation.
Yeah.
I really like we're past it now, but the animation whenever the robot version of her that's left over is shorting out and stuff. I think turned out so great.
It's rough to watch. And
it went on longer than I expected it to when I first watched it, and yeah, it's tough.
We gotta hit him.
Yeah, I think I'm a bad person, I guess. Whenever there's stuff like that in the script, I'm like, what if we let's drag it out and really make it messed up.
I mean, I think
that was great.
At different points throughout this season, all of the episode directors had a moment with me where they said, how brutal can I make this for different things? And I think this was yours, Dustin.
A place like these vaults, wherever they are, they're not part of Remnant.
Yang remembers.
So that was another thing this episode that was another thing this episode had to do, right, was present this idea of like where they got the idea, like to use kind of like the walkways. At one point, I remember we had tied that, we were going to use that as like a Fiona semblance was going to give them the idea for it at one point. And then because we changed a bunch of stuff early in the season, Fiona wasn't going to be in the same space as these characters very much.
Yeah, and I think we wanted to kind of, find a way to tie it into, more stuff relating to the relics as well too, and just this like, well, clearly this area, I'll be careful with my words here, but
yes,
this area exists a little bit differently. Maybe we can use this,
I also like that it's a callback to the snowshoe shipping stuff too, right? Like to make sure that what they did earlier in the season connected to their ideas they get later.
Yeah, that was a big deal between 2 and 3, which Paul and Dustin, you did as well, as like making sure that the kind of layout of these things would be enough to at least inspire them to this concept of all of the different tubes from all the different parts of Atlas coming up to this one, or Mantle coming up to this one spot.
I remember at one we had, man, I almost don't even want to say what some of our ideas were around that. Gosh,
we look. Here's what I'm gonna say: we try real hard. We put in a lot of effort.
We got there.
But I
remember when we first talked about it, one of the very first iterations was a Rainbow Road Asgard. The Bifrost, is that what it's called?
Yeah,
it was very similar to that.
I forget we missed it earlier, but we finally got to show that it was probably wasn't the first time, but those steps, all those floating platforms were steps the whole time.
What now? We go to Vacuo.
Heck yeah, Rwby.
All of us.
Penny's feet are gonna hurt.
Hope that we've thought of everything.
Uh-oh.
What do we do now?
All right, we got the penultimate episode. You know we got the dream team here. We got Kiersey, Eddie, and Miles, who all did
I'm starting to believe it now.
a bit of writing on this episode, and then Connor, who directed it.
Hello.
These portals are so cool. I wasn't
Yeah.
on chapter 12, so I didn't get to have my moment to be like, oh my god, it was so cool when I saw those for the first time. Like, this is just some crazy idea that we had, and now look at it. It's still crazy.
I love the return of Vomit Boy there for a second. Yeah,
This
getting that
set was
that
so cool.
portal fly-through effect was I would say like difficult, but it was a surprising amount of work to get a couple frames, or at least a lot of coordination, I should say.
Yeah, I remember like talking to Richard in the edit for this. I'm like, he put all those shots in. There's like 5 or 6 shots in that like half-second period, and he had them as like lasting a couple seconds. Like, no, just like 4 frames each, just like totally disorienting. And then we just like fly the camera through every other location in Atlas.
Yeah,
and
it worked out great. Yeah.
I do love how like the other half of this crew heard the "don't fall" warning, and then those two just go like leaping off. No regard for safety. I love this moment. I remember being a little worried about having the 2 Jean gags like back to back, but
I think it worked out okay.
I was wrong, and I'm dumb.
Look, we all get.
What was the other Jean gag?
Just the portal vomit thing.
Oh, the vomit.
Vomit Boy.
Gotcha.
Yeah, see, it's just an inherent part of his character, so you don't even think twice about it.
Yeah, it's not even a gag. That's just how it works out.
Yeah.
I remember being worried about showing Penny's feet and people thinking that we're weird.
Who directed this? Tarantino?
Yeah. Anytime we were looking at the model and like it was like, do I want to give a note about the feet? I don't want people to think that I'm thinking about the feet. It's just
should have added like
it was the
an
best
extra
way to
toe
show
on
she's
one.
human. She never had toesies before. I don't know what you want.
Should have put an extra toe on just one foot.
The Little Mermaid created the rules. We didn't create the rules. Those are the rules.
First taste of Vacuo here. Pretty inviting.
Gritty.
Yep. This is exactly what they were going for.
I remember doing like so many feedback sessions on the way this dune looked, Carrie, in the art reviews. Do you remember this? For some reason, you'd think a sand dune. It's like, that should be easy. But
Well, yeah, it was tough because it's like we wanted to like invoke this certain kind of feel, but then it also needed to be able to house potentially,
like thousands of people.
Yeah, 2 cities worth of people, while also us knowing that we couldn't necessarily get that many people on screen at once, so it needed to fall off in a way that could imply that there was more people as well. So it ended up being kind of tough, but the end result turned out great. It was just sometimes the things that end up taking more coordination and back and forth are the ones that are the most surprising.
I remember being really like low-key worried going up to this episode, because I remember seeing a lot of people watching week to week theorizing that maybe Watts' verbal beatdown on Cinder was going to lead to her having like a big change of character, big change of heart. And the whole time I'm just thinking, yo, Cinder starts this fight off by insta-killing a crowd full of civilians, and that might cause some whiplash.
Right away.
Like, she just rains like corpses into the like unknown abyss. Like, that might take some people off guard.
We dispelled that notion pretty quickly. Yeah.
Oh, I remember we were talking about, right? Like they have a goal, and what is a good way for her to disrupt their goal, right? Like it's kind of stupid of them to leave their objective behind, right? But if she just starts being a bad guy, I mean, that was the thing we talked about. Like let her be a villain and start indiscriminately hurting people.
Yeah,
that's a good way to get your hero's attention.
Yeah,
she's a smarter villain.
Yes.
I joked the other episode. It's like, villains can swear, Like, she's also like, yeah, heroes have to save people. So let's make them try and save people.
They save people. That's like how this works.
This is this episode always seems like or always struck me as like not the B-side, but like the sister episode to chapter 12, because just like structurally it's very similar, where 12 you see the good guys and then you find out how they did it, and then we have the opposite with Cinder,
which was another thing I think we were kind of worried about conveying, but it totally worked out. But it's just like 12 was already kind of this like mix up of order, because we wanted to kind of reveal things in this heist way, and then we also see it through this lens as well. So it was like a little nerve-wracking, but it worked out super well.
And it's nice because 12 does the work, right? Like, because we see all the things that they know, now we know what Cinder knows,
And we don't have to fully convey it,
Everything about this scene just hits so perfectly. The music that's like, this is her. This is like her showing up at the ball, and
right.
with the horse.
So
it's her hero villain moment.
Brutal.
Yeah, that was like a big debate about the music for this, and I love that little like spin kick or spin hit that Neo does. But how to play the music for this sequence, and it just felt right to play it like sympathetically to Cinder. Like this is the moment where this is the high mark for her, really.
Yeah.
And of course, this moment here has a lot more resonance when you watch it, having seen the whole season. Where she tells Watts he deserves what's coming.
Yeah.
I remember we struggled a lot. I mean, we've talked about this in a previous chapter, just about like landing Cinder, right? Like her plan and what she's doing, and her like taking swift action was really difficult. And it wasn't until we just were like, let her use the lamp. It'll be really frustrating, right? Like for people that have been wanting to get this some other kind of final question, but like Cinder using something super selfishly just to get her own goal made perfect sense, and it fixed a lot of things for us.
Yeah, and Watts just being like, well, I can't stop her. I strongly disapprove, but can't disagree with her methods.
Yep. Yeah, he does kind of that little eye roll when she starts using the question. Like he's like, oh god.
Really,
I love this
letterboxing it.
Yeah. Sometimes a bunch of just like mindless robot drones don't seem like they can do much on the battlefield, but it only ever takes one. So long as one gets through there and really makes a difference.
It's all about timing. I think that's what it comes down to.
Well, we've shown a few times, right, that Marrow's semblance takes a lot out of him.
Yeah.
And like that was it.
Yeah, Vine. He has a weapon, but the weapon that really matters is his stretchy arms.
His wacky inflatable.
He uses for everything. With Stretch Armstrong, that's what.
Well, I see you're awake finally.
I love that Jacques is not above gloating in this moment.
Yeah.
Not at all.
We needed one more reason to remind the audience.
Why he sucks before.
Yeah, exactly.
He still thinks his lawyers are working on it. He's like, I'm gonna get out of here soon. The general's in here with me, but that's fine.
And it's that he's signed off with such a casual like, oh yeah, sure thing. Like
yeah.
I remember one thing that we did, that there was like some speculation about, right? I think it was just something that might have gotten taken out for time. This was a Watts move.
Yeah.
Taking out Ironwood's, the wall of his cell here.
Letting the angry tiger out of the cage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just maximum chaos.
This one run, both 13 and 14 though, I know they ended up running long anyway.
Yep.
Despite everyone.
Well, and then after seeing Watts
so
make a couple of after seeing Watts do this a few times in a row, then right, like,
yeah, you get it.
Yeah,
that sure thing is such like a Bruce Willis.
I love this shot.
Cinder's so cool.
Yeah, it's such a balance. But y'all did a great job of keeping a fight going, but also keeping people moving still and like making it feel like this place is very alive. It's hard to do, man.
Well, this was a hard part too, because like she has to kind of like keep their attention and gloat for a while, and we didn't want it to just be like everybody standing there, so we had her just on this fire tornado. So it was justifiable that they couldn't get to her.
Uh-oh.
Gosh. Barbara's shriek there was really good. I have to say, that's like the biggest thing I admire about voice actors.
We talked about the order of who was going to fall for so long. And Yang ended up being a really kind of... It worked just because it would have made the rest of her volume feel like it was like a sign-off, right? Because she did get a lot of focus this volume.
Yeah, I think that was another thing we decided on pretty early in is like only one person can fall in 13.
In this episode, yeah.
Because as soon as more than one member... Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I think it's also like the most emotionally devastating for the team.
Yeah.
You know, because like her and Blake have this very personal connection, and her and Rwby obviously, so it just instantly throws everybody off balance. Not that anybody falling wouldn't. But,
yeah, sure, but no, it's definitely like
She's a core support pillar for this group.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, I just love Weiss, how much Weiss quietly holds her own in this chapter and the next chapter. God.
It speaks a lot to how much she's grown. Like an older Weiss would make a big deal out of like having to like put the team on her back.
Do anything?
But she just she just like
1v1 Cinder.
Yep.
For a second.
She quietly resigns herself to her role and she does her duty just as a good she should. Now she does her own thing. It's great.
You said duty.
I love that the first like maiden on maiden attack in this episode is just a punch.
Yeah. Just straight up.
I love that her Penny's adaptation to realizing she doesn't have her blades anymore.
Yeah, I think she goes to fire that big laser cannon again because that's how she took out Cinder in her first fight, and then it's like, wait, that's not there anymore.
No.
She's such a robot too. She's like, all right, this worked on her last time. That's going to be the first thing that I do.
I love this.
This was like when we were figuring out how to block this. Seemed like the most like salient and interesting part of this fight is that it all happens in the context of these crowds trying to flee for their lives. So like the collateral damage is an ever-present threat.
Well, and Weiss has really taken on like protecting Atlas because she's the only one of the Team Rwby who's from Atlas and that's her home. And then she makes that clear, throughout these last couple episodes that that's what she's there for.
For sure.
And I love this old check-in down in Mantle. Like, it takes a long time to evacuate cities full of people.
Yeah.
Entire kingdom.
We also just wanted to show people there so that the human cost of what she's doing.
Yeah, we're just gonna fly this bomb down to an empty city.
Yeah. So for multiple reasons, it's like no, we need to show like this is gonna take a while.
I like that this this kind of pays off some development for Vine's character, that he is kind of the most receptive to what Rin says in chapter 7 about about how ignoring your feelings is just like detrimental to your team, and being emotionally like intelligent actually is an asset, and surprisingly it's fine.
Yeah, emotional intelligence is still intelligence.
Yeah.
Also, finally, a bit of a reveal as to why Harriet has been so angry
and so hell-bent on getting the job done, because it's not really about that. I like these two also as just a pair of characters. Like, they've been positioned in some ways as opposites, but sometimes he's the only one who can really see to the core, like the truth of something.
Yeah.
It's really tragic too, because like in that moment you can tell she is receptive and she's like listening to it, but she gets shaken out of it by Robin.
Yeah, Robin has no idea, because that was
Robin has no idea.
Yeah, Robin has no idea that Vine is on their side.
Yeah.
This was something we planned from like very early on. Like,
well, yeah, at some point it's like Crow is flying through a window.
Yeah.
In this volume, and taking the fight to somebody.
I love that cut, just contrasting like.
You think you're going back into the cockpit or something?
Yeah.
I repeat, is anybody receiving these messages? Can anyone?
I wonder if anyone ever comes on this elevator non-dramatically. Like like, hey, just checking on the lights, making
Like
sure
in the
they're
off
still lit.
season, they just keep the canned goods down here.
Yeah.
We definitely were specifically like referencing the shots that you did in your episode last season, Gary, for this. Like, this is just the same shot.
And Oscar coming down the elevator.
Yeah.
A lot of full circles.
Oh yeah.
I'm really
This scene
glad.
is
I know that was a
brutal.
huge project for us as writers. Was like, what are all of our little final one-offs gonna be? And
Yeah.
I know this was a top priority for us. Was making sure that Winter and Iron would get their moment here.
Just not having Ironwood, fighting one of the like
Enemies of this kingdom.
the kids, just like having it be this, representation of, him going too far and, losing this person that's always been by his side, I think is like so impactful.
Well, it's like the two people who want to hurt each other the least.
Right.
Yeah.
You got to make them fight.
Like, 24 hours ago, that would have been ridiculous to think that would have happened,
Where's Penny? Couldn't she deal with the storm?
Wait, Penny should have been here by now.
Uh-oh.
Oh, Oscar, God.
I remember we added that to the end of this episode, and it's just like, oh no.
Even the inanimate like objects in this world like beating up on Oscar.
Can't get your break.
Kid.
Yeah.
Not safe for anyone.
You should see him at screen doors.
Uh-oh.
And here we are, the final episode. And you know it, we're back with the Dream Team. Miles,
Nightmare
Kiersey,
team after
and
this.
Eddie all wrote on this episode. And then I directed it, so sorry.
It's all on you, Carrie.
Yeah. I mean, that's how it works out.
I remember we were trying to figure out when to put that little Salem is on her way back nod, and right at the beginning of this episode felt like the right spot.
Yeah,
just a reminder.
Yeah, because I feel like any later, I think it's definitely one of those things that's better for you to forget.
Yeah. Yes.
So doing it right at the beginning and then jumping into this like high intensity fight.
Well, and then using a beat later as kind of like an impetus to make other things happen. Also,
Right.
helped us out a lot.
Yeah, because I think
using that gun as a bludgeon is my favorite thing.
Oh yeah.
I'm sorry.
he uses every part of the buffalo.
He really does, truly.
Yeah. This is a huge shot. Everybody, like, I can't thank everybody enough for everything with 13 and 14, especially. I mean, it's just like a huge undertaking. We didn't really talk about it too much in the last one, but I mean, like, Connor and I, along with like, a lot of the storyboard and layout teams, and even going into animation and post, like, there's a lot of coordination that had to happen because we kind of had to plan these episodes at the same time.
Yeah.
In a lot of ways, and make sure that the Joe Mack, our storyboard supervisor, like he did a really good job of making sure him and Kate Warner, our layout supervisor, like making sure that everybody is in the right spot at the right time. And yeah, it makes sense that person came from this direction and stuff like that, which is great because it meant that I didn't have to.
Well, yeah, because in the script you're just like nebulous walkway,
right? And that's not
right. Like
that's not
you don't
what
have to worry
is.
about. Yeah, you don't have to worry about where everyone's coming from. You're like, someone else will solve this problem.
Yeah. And they did.
This is such a cool scene to get to work on. I loved the Harriet's move is just so like 100% Harriet.
Yeah. Yeah, fine. I'll just knock it out myself.
Yeah, exactly. I love that little just positioning with her body when Elm says that to her, like
kind of shrinks.
She goes back to being a kid again for a second.
just really like the way this all came together with having, you know, because I remember people speculating even when Clover was first introduced, right? Like, isn't that sort of similar to Crow's? And like, kind of a lot of it was that it's like perspective,
right?
You know, and being able to have Crow make this change, this positive change, was really nice.
I love Weiss getting to swoop in there and rescue Rwby with just like a casual punt.
Well, I mean, yeah, last time, or maybe not last time, but I mean, in some ways, last time that everybody was together fighting. Things didn't go quite well for Weiss, vis-a-vis being stabbed. So I think, yeah, seeing her kind of step up, and it was nice to see that, and getting to see Neo finally starting to get her revenge on Rwby, or feeling like she is at least.
God, I remember just like meticulously outlining the beats of all this, right? Because we just wanted it to feel worse at every step. Weiss getting kind of blown up and her aura breaking, Rwby losing her weapon, right? Like, just it always stacks against them.
Are we the baddies? I'm the baddie.
It's like, oh.
I love the way she just cradles her.
Yeah. What's I love so much about this is, you know, on top of everything, I mean, like, Harriet is absolutely not a bad person, and they, I think, are the fact that they are so forgiving and so like willing to, you know, realize that she was in a tough place, I think is just says a lot about how much they've grown since we first introduced them.
Yeah, and I mean, like, the Aesops are definitely, and intentionally so, like, framed as antagonists to our heroes during this part of the Atlas story arc, but it's also, like, you know, our heroes, like Ren and Yang, and like, they all had issues after everything that's happened to them so far, and it's like, yeah, of course the Aesops have also been, like, totally gone through some trauma and, like, difficult emotional hurdles in the past handful of days.
And they've gotten no support, and have been told that they're not allowed to feel it, and they're not supposed to feel it.
And hey, guess what? That makes people do not great things sometimes.
This Rwby Neo fight, like you were talking about, it's been a long time coming. And then
You
can trust her.
There's definite, like, throughout this whole episode, it's pretty nonstop in, you know, decent, maybe good thing happens, bad thing happens. Not as good thing happens, worse thing happens. You know, this is a very dense episode.
Again, coming back to like the order of people that fall, because we went around a long time about it, and then finally it was kind of like, no, let's kick off 2 people at the same time next, because once the next person goes, then people will probably clue into that everybody's going. So make it as shocking as possible right off the bat.
Yeah.
I love Weiss using Blake's weapon.
Yep.
Weiss
just
is
like really,
the MVP, man.
She really is.
We really were trying to think of every way we could to get across desperation. And there's like, to me, it was just like, you pick up anything next to you and you throw it at whatever is in your way.
About friends.
It's like a terrible thing to say, Cinder.
Yeah.
I love this shot and the way it's because again, it's just one of those things where that is not the lineup that you would expect at all. You know, like these characters didn't have like a ton of interaction, but I mean, I think that's what is so interesting about this, and like who ended up here, because it all makes sense why they
the last one
here.
Standing,
right? You know, Penny being the maiden, Weiss having this kind of attachment to Atlas, and then Jean sending Nora through first. I mean, like, big hand.
Turns out fleshy
This was
bodies
so well done.
kind of have some drawbacks.
Hold on, my semblance.
Yeah, the direction here is great.
Well, thanks, guys.
I talked about this a little bit in chapter 9, but just how we quietly had like these little moments for Jean, all volume, just to kind of show his mindset of like, I'm gonna do the hard thing, I've still got a job to do, and how that carried through all the way to this kind of like ultimate moment for him.
This was tough. Yeah, Jean cannot catch a break.
It was a tough day in the booth.
Yeah, well, it really was. It was a tough day for several. There are some like reviews and like, you know, boards and layout and animation that like don't get easier. And this whole scene was definitely one.
I mean, and ultimately, Penny all season long has been talking about what she was willing to do for her friends.
Yeah.
Yeah, we you know, played with a lot of exactly like how much, like originally that shot of Cinder there, actually the camera like moved over and showed them in the background, but we had kind of decided to err on this idea of, you know, show less. Because we didn't want to like disrespect the idea.
I've only cried a couple of times while writing a scene. And this is one of them.
This scene absolutely decimates me.
This is one of those where in animatics, Jackie worked on this episode, and we, you know, she did a whole past episode, and we reviewed it, and we made like just a couple like tweaks here and there to this scene, and it was like, all right, well, this scene's done. Yeah. This scene's not going to get any longer. It's not going to get any shorter. Everything else around this episode is going to change to make sure that this scene stays exactly how it is, and that's how it stayed for the rest of the production.
God, it was such a beautiful concept. This tiny little moment that these two characters can have together after not seeing each other for quite some time, screen time wise. Like, at the same time, their journeys have been completely parallel throughout this.
Yeah.
And they've been together without realizing it, and they will be again.
Yeah, I don't remember why it came up. I just remember us talking about this moment of like, yeah, let's have them talk to each other kind of when Penny's on the way out. Because I think we were trying to figure out logistics too, if maybe they get closer and does Winter come through sooner or something like that. But I'm so glad that we did this the way we did.
This like soul pairing handoff. Very anime.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Props to, I mean, all the voice actors, but Elizabeth Maxwell in this episode is just phenomenal.
And she doesn't even have to hurt him. All she has to do is send his
poetic
EFG back at him. I love it. She's like, I don't have time for this.
That moment to me feels just as much like Winter standing back against him as it does like Penny. It's like the power Penny gave. Like it's like both of them are just like, we're done with you.
Yeah.
In that moment.
I remember I added the sword break in when I was writing it.
Such a good decision. It just hurts
that it wasn't something we had talked about. It was just like, oh, this feels right.
Well, and I love too, you know, Winter was trained for this, so she comes into this with already an incredible understanding of her power and how to use it, and she has Penny's help. Like,
yeah, I mean, it's just as a, you know, kind of a caster in some degrees to begin with, and with the Shnee's, you know, semblance and stuff like that, it just kind of, I feel like a lot of it was kind of natural. We tried to do a lot of things where she kind of amplified things that she was already doing, like the, you know, extra frosty Nevermore and stuff like that. Just let him leave, please.
Just let them walk
Hey, Cinder, can you be cool?
Can you just chill for a second,
Can you
please,
just be
while we get out of
cool?
here?
Also, like John, one last time with a little MVP move, throwing his little shield disc.
Tried, yeah.
Oof.
Ugh, so brutal for Winter.
Yeah, that's another one of those like to you know, to go from like their first interactions in Volume 3 that we saw to this.
Mm-hmm.
It's been such a crazy journey for them.
Are going to pay for
Uh-oh.
The scream.
Oh yeah, this was another one of those
Solitas.
timing beats things that was really challenging to figure out. It was like,
Yeah, the order.
when and how is Salem gonna tell us that she's back? And everyone needs to get ready.
Well, and John too. John has been there and seen her face to face, right? So that scream is enough for him to be like, "We gotta get out of here."
Well,
like,
and
real
also,
quick.
you know, I think Cinder wanting to look the best that she can and knowing that, like, you know, if they're still fighting while Salem shows up, she doesn't look as good. You know, but now she can craft this story and say whatever she wants to.
Cinder originally had like a line right there where she kind of gave a quick little like, peace out, John, kind of moment before she sent him into oblivion. But
it's almost cooler. This is new Cinder. This is cool.
yeah, it's kind of cooler that she
Post-Watts
doesn't say
Cinder.
anything.
Yeah, don't look
like,
back at the explosion.
Yeah.
Those silverfish in there. Those little creepy boys.
I love that. We got the close-up of one of those.
Goosebumps.
This is I'm mad at myself that I can't remember, but I think this is another rearranged scene kind of section as well. I think originally we followed Cinder out here, if I remember correctly. I'm trying to remember.
I think so. And then I think the winter stuff came later.
Was it? Because I remember the big deal was I wanted the season to end on, and that's checkmate. I can't remember though. It's all a foggy haze.
That is true too. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
I do remember
the
winter
Let me be
thing
clear about that.
originally was later.
I'm sorry.
I mean, when we were planning these last 3 episodes, I think.
Oh yeah.
Like I remember we reached the point where I just like went and I started a graphical timeline.
Yes.
It was
Keep it all in
amazing.
my brain at once. I was like, guys, I can't do this.
Yeah, this is where everybody is and where they go and why they go there. This is what the plan was, right?
What's wild is like one of the few things though that I do remember was like this was one of those pre-season 1 ideas was just like, hey, when the bad guys do get like everything they need from Atlas, the idea is they will be walking right past Ironwood and they won't even give him the time of day. Like they don't even acknowledge him.
Yeah, I mean I think we always talk about how we have like a lot of the broad strokes, and then as we get to each season we kind of fill in, exactly how some things happen or make some tweaks. But I mean, like a lot of this has been around forever. This this idea of Atlas falling. I mean, somebody made a joke about it earlier, but Chekhov's floating city, it's we got it in the sky, it's gonna come down.
The city
just like
tried...
for
go ahead.
I was just saying for like all the self-importance of Ironwood, right, to be totally disregarded in those last moments.
Yep.
And have to accept it. Like
Yeah.
he just chooses not to fire a shot because he knows he's done so.
It's pointless,
Yeah, it's pointless.
Crushed by the weight of the city he tried so hard to uphold. Sayonara,
this
James.
moment.
Yeah. Huge shout out to our FX team, especially Ryan Bowden in the lead. Because I was like, hey, can we just do a couple water shots at the end? No big deal. And now the city of Atlas is underwater.
Yeah.
Get it?
That was another one of those old get it's.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Throughout the entire planning of the last 2 seasons, right? It was like, all right, this is where we're gonna end up. So
yeah.
Like, how are we gonna get there?
We think we're clever.
Hey, remember when all of that was gonna happen in 1 volume?
God.
I mean, Eddie, we used to think this for the longest time. This arc was season 3 in our heads.
Yep. Because we didn't know nothing about nothing.
Yeah.
Naive, ambitious.
Yeah, I remember before we even started on volume 7. I mean, this was like a good bit before we started on volume 7 when you guys like walked us through like the plan, and that this was originally the plan for volume 7, and then that didn't last very long. I think the decision had already been made by the time we started outlining 7 that there was no way, right?
Yeah.
So it's not something that even survived to the first writer's room session.
No. I think we knew deep down. Well, I think it's part of it too. It's just like we have these like, okay, this is where we know we want to get to, and then we just discover so many things along the way that's like, well, but no, we want that too. We want that too, and
yeah.
Well, I guess it's gonna be one more volume.
Man, the fact that this volume even exists is an absolute miracle, and everyone in these credits really gave it their all.
For real.
It's
oh boy.
Yeah. Everybody in the team went above and beyond, and yeah, I couldn't be happier with how it all turned out.
Well, and despite everything happening, I mean, this is still like one of the most beautiful looking volumes of Rwby ever, and that was in spite of the fact that everyone had to completely refigure out how to work.
I mean, that's why I was so appreciative of, you know, even though we were, figuring out how to work from home and all of that. We had this. I mean, we had the quote unquote snowpocalypse happened in Austin during this.
In addition, right when we were trying to finish the volume.
Yeah, but I mean, there was still, all of that said, then there were still people that were like, "Hey, I figured out how to do this thing. Can we add this to the show? It'd be really cool." You know, like, and it was just people never stop trying to push things, and I'll always be forever grateful for that.
It was a real pleasure to get to work on this one with you guys.
Yeah.
Sam's.
Yeah. There's nobody else I would have gone into that foxhole with for sure. It was.
There's only like 3 other people I could think of that I'd go in that foxhole with.
I mean, it was.
Is one of them The Rock?
Yes.
George
Actually,
R.
all
Martin,
3 of them were
The Rock.
It was just. I mean, it was a logistically and emotionally difficult volume, you know. So, yeah, it was a pleasure to get to work with you guys every day on that thing.
Yeah, I mean, we spent a long time of spending every morning together, and I definitely miss it.
Oh, I miss it too. I always looked forward to it, and then afterwards I was always like, God, why am I so exhausted? Like, well,
I will
probably
never
just big brained for hours.
Yeah, I will never again like underestimate how tired just thinking makes you.
Oh, and there are some, you know, maybe someday. There are just some like PTSD flashbacks I have to some of our writers' room sessions. Some of the arguments we had about.
Or I mean, like you think you'd have something settled, and then somebody would like come in the next morning and be like, "Hey, I had this thought about why everything we talked about for 4 hours yesterday doesn't work anymore."
Yep.
And you just be like, "Thank you for saying
the
it."
last couple weeks, like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
I
so
know
glad
we've
you
all
said it.
written our
It's better for us to
scripts,
figure this out now. Shut
Yeah.
up.
And then whoever it was, you're just like, I hate this person.
Yeah.
I hate what this person did with their brain.
Casey, do you remember we went off for a few days and then came back and we're like, okay, hear us out. River of Grimm, giant arm. And we were like, they're either gonna love us or tell us that we wasted our time for the past few days.
Well, and then both ended up happening where it was a good idea. We explored it for a while and then ended up not doing it.
Yeah, because it was like we proposed this idea and then it worked, and then I think one of us was also like came back and we're like, hey, actually this only half works. Yeah, you pick up what works, you dust it off, you throw everything else away, you go, all right, well, let's get back to it.
No.
There were so many of those this season. It was
Thanks
really
for
fun.
watching.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching.
Thanks for
everybody.
watching, everybody.
Thank you all
That's
for
all you
watching. We're really excited for Volume 9. We hope you are too. And yeah, please keep being awesome and enjoy this beautiful beach.